Okay, we are live. I don't know if anybody's in here. Maybe nobody's here and I'm just talking to myself. It's always fun. So, how is everybody? Anybody who's here? Sam, I got rid of the heart for you if you're there. More than likely, there's other people streaming at the same time as me because it's gotten to be just a thing. But, it's understandable because we're getting more and more people streaming all the time. So, of course, people are going to stream on top of each other. So, I am Joe Rogan's passing hello. I am still snowed in here. Hi, Travis. There's not like 2 million tons of snow, but it's piled up in front of my door. And sometime last week, it melted enough to where when it froze again, it turned into a block of ice. And I have not been able to get my door open since. And I did feel a little bit of give today, so I think I've just about got it. I'll try again after the stream. Hit it a few times, see what I can do. But it snowed tonight too, so we shall see what happens. Although the snow's not, I don't think the new snow's really going to make a difference. It was the ice. Aquafuck is streaming tonight too. Hi, Mojo. How are you doing? I know he started streaming on Saturday nights, which is why I quit going on Saturday nights, but whatever. Hey, GRB, how are you? How are your cave dwellers doing? So anyway, that's what's going on with me is I'm still snowed in, still can't get my door open. But I will eventually. Like I say, it snowed some more tonight, but the fresh snow isn't going to make a difference because it's the ice that's stopping me from opening the door. I can push a little bit of fresh snow, but it's that damn block of ice that's sitting in front of my door that won't let me get it open. I know, I've been frozen in for I think it's been over a week now. It's driving me crazy because I keep thinking I'm going to get out and go to the post office, and I can't get out. And it's driving me mad. I'm going to cry. But maybe tomorrow. I think, what do we have for a high tomorrow? 38, which isn't really great. Sunday, it's going to be 50 degrees, which is definitely snow melting. But I got to try really hard tomorrow because if it gets up to 38, that's enough to soften the snow and freeze it into ice again. So are you still battling the heat there, GRB? Or is it starting to cool down a bit? I think I'd rather be frozen in than have that heat, I think. Blacky says he'll be here real quick, so that would be cool. He says he's almost here. We might have some little treats of 104 degrees. Oh my God, no. I'd definitely rather be cold than hot. Yuck. We might have some little clips from Instagram if Blacky managed to do some little clips from it. Because I guess Joey had one of his drunk meltdowns on Instagram. So it'd be interesting to see that. So what else is going on with everybody? Other than the unbearable ice freezing in, I don't have too much going on. I did get a couple little ACEO cards done in the last few days. Got this one here. Of course, my webcam never shows anything for shit. But that is 2 young bighorns. And then I got this one here, which is a female wood duck. Hi, Divine. Hi, Cat. I hope you're doing good today, Cat. Yeah, Joey likes to stir the pot. Yes, actually, he likes to get drunk and let his mouth run. But people love him, so what can you say? So I'll show everybody what I've got for sale, although, you know, if anybody wants to bid on anything. I don't have any pictures of the female wood duck yet. I'll have to wait till tomorrow. But I do believe I can pull up some pictures of some of the other stuff. Let me see. That one. And that one. Okay. Let's make that one. And then I've got that one. And let me see here. What else I got? Oh, the buffalo. I don't know where the buffalo is. I gotta get a better picture of the buffalo I was looking at. I realized the picture really sucks. So I think let me see. That one. That one. And then I got the, okay, I think I'm ready. Okay. So, Viking Warrior, hello. Okay, so we got, let me see, share screen. I've got to click on one of these now. Okay, so this is an 8x10 colored pencil. And all of these I'm going to show you are the ones that I have for sale right now. And any on these 8x10s, the opening bid is $150, and on the little drawings, the opening bid is $20. So there's the little Indian girl colored pencil. And then let's see what else I got here. Oh, I'll do the other 8x10, which is a buffalo, and really the picture is bad, but we'll do it anyway. And this is a buffalo or bison on a piece of papyrus paper. And it is also framed to 8x10 with 11x14 outer mat size on both this and the Indian girl, which will make it very cheap to frame because you can just get an 11x14 frame with glass about anywheres. Okay, then for the smaller drawings. Do this. And then this, and this, and this is a 2 inch by 5 inch little drawing on a piece of scrap paper, and I just kind of threw it on a mat. So, yeah, it's 2 inches by 5 inches. And then we've got this one here, which is a poor picture, but at least I did get a picture of it. I'll try to get a better one tomorrow. It was almost dark when I took this picture. Yep, that's not what I wanted to do. I got to present. Hit present. Share screen. And this one here is a little card. And it's two young bighorn sheep. And it's a little card, so it's like ACEO card, which is like 2.5 by 3.5 inches. And the opening bids on that size is $20. Okay. So, and then the other one I've got, I don't have a picture of it yet, but it is a female wood duck. And I'll get a picture of it tomorrow. And I see Blacky. Hello, hello.
Hi, how's it going?
So did you make some clips?
No, I got some timestamps. We probably shouldn't dive straight into that. There's not enough fish people here.
This is true.
Although in saying that, it could be wise the other way around, that because there's not enough fish people here, it might be safer.
It might be safer, yes, yes. Nope, have not sold the buffalo yet. Have not sold the native girls yet, and then I got the new one, the little wood duck, and the sheep, bighorn sheep.
Hey, Kat. Hey, Trav. Hey, Divine. Hey, Rojogan. GRB. Huawei, of course. The lovely Huawei. Looking lovely tonight, as usual. Viking, if you're still there.
I thought he had on a little bit too much makeup myself. But, that's just my personal opinion.
Huawei.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like it when he tramps it up a bit. It's my favorite. So what's been going on?
Not much. It just came on.
Weather and stuff.
I'm still snowed in. I can't get out of my freaking house. I can't get the damn door open.
Is that something you can call the fire department for?
It'd be kind of a waste of their time unless it was an emergency to get out.
Yeah, I suppose.
Call up fire department saying, help, I need to get to the post office. Come get me out of here.
Can you just bring me some fire?
And it's been snowing for the last couple hours.
Like heavy snow or just...
It was heavy snow for a while. It's light snow right now, but it was heavy for a while. So yeah, but I don't think the snow is going to make any difference because of what's stopping me from getting out is like a block of ice.
Yeah, right. Melted and froze up again.
Yeah. So the snow on top isn't really going to make any difference. It's just trying to get the door past that, get that block of ice moved out of my way.
What do you got to... I suppose your door's got one of those things that blocks the gap at the bottom. You don't want to sit there for 4 hours blowing a hairdryer through the bottom of the door.
Well, I can get it open about a foot, but a foot doesn't cut it. I never thought of a hairdryer, though. I do have a hairdryer, but I think that would take like forever to melt a block of ice with a hairdryer.
And also up your electricity bill considerably.
Yeah.
G'day, Dan. because hair dryers are expensive appliances to operate.
I have some salt,
Oh yeah,
but
salt's
not a lot of it. I just have like a deal of table salt, not a big one. So if I had like a bag of salt, it would be really good, but I don't.
I've got a like a 5-liter bucket of pool salt, but that's no good to you.
Send it over here. uh,
Just salt doesn't go off, does it? Because I've had that thing for freaking years. You just bought it for
you know, you gotta be,
months.
you know, people are talking about different ways to melt it, but I don't know if you guys remember, but in like the middle of March several years ago, I had to I woke up in the morning hearing a bunch of noise, and I looked out my window, and right at the edge of my backyard was like 2 police cars and a fire truck, and the house right across the dirt driveway from my backyard was on fire. And then right after that, I mean, I just barely got my coffee, and the police went through driving up and down the roads with a blowhorn telling everybody to evacuate right now. So I had to evacuate, and I sat like on the edge of the road for a while, and I just watched them bring water trucks in and water trucks in and water trucks in and more fire trucks. And the thing is it was like about 24 degrees, and the wind was blowing about 50 miles an hour. So it was really windy and really cold. And then in the afternoon, I like turned on, was listening to different things, and it was on like the Weather Channel and stuff was showing the fire at my house. But they said that they had set up, the Red Cross had set up a place to go at the fairgrounds. So, and all the residents were encouraged to go there. So I got over there about 7 o'clock, I think, and they had pizza and stuff. So got to eat dinner, and I had Buddy with me, and he was like everybody fell in love with him. And then about 9 o'clock, the fire chief came in to let everybody know whose houses burnt down, because there was 8 houses burnt down.
Shit.
Yeah. And I was just really lucky because the fire was right at my house, but the wind was blowing it away from me. But we found out the next day that the cause of the fire was a guy who did lose his house, to be fair to him, but he also took out a whole lot of houses with his. He was trying to thaw his frozen pipes out with a blowtorch. And it caught the weeds, and that was the end of it because the wind was so strong, and it just went from there, and they couldn't stop it. So yeah, that was kind of an experience.
Divine's got a solid example of lateral thinking for your door problem. Just climb out the window like a teenager.
That sounds really good until you consider the fact that I'm like almost 69 years old and fat, and I ain't going to be crawling out no windows.
You've got to think like a teenager to climb out the window like a teenager.
Oh my God, yeah. I remember, that reminds me of when I lived on Cape Cod. One morning, Megan missed the school bus, and I got up, and it was like 15 degrees, and we'd had freezing rain. So the car had like a sheet of ice over the top of it. And the problem with my old car that I had then was the heater didn't work on it. So I had to like pour hot water over the doors to get a door open and get the car going. But then there's no heating the car up because the heater didn't work. So, but we got it de-iced enough to get her to school. So I take her to school, and we pull up, and of course by then it's like she's a little bit late. So I pulled up to the school, and I told her, well, you better hurry up so you don't get in too much trouble. And she can't get the door open because it's frozen shut. So I was sitting there, I was like laughing my ass off at her. while she like had to unroll the window and climb out the window and run into the school. So I was laughing my ass off at her, and I rolled her window back up, and I drove back home, and I couldn't get my door open because it was closed.
G'day, Kiwi.
Oh yeah,
Gold.
karma. So I drove down to the gas station, and the guy came out, and I said, I don't need any gas. I need help getting my car door open. And so he sent me down the road. He said, well, the next gas station down the road, they have a garage, and they can probably get your door open, pull you in the garage and get your door open. So I go down to the next gas station down the road, and I pull up to the pumps because nobody's coming out, and I can't get out to go get it help. So I pull up to the pumps, and this Indian guy comes out, and he just kind of looked at me. He says, gas? I said, no gas. I said, I need help getting my door open. And he looks at me and goes, no gas? I said, no gas. And he walked back in and shut the door again. I was like, fuck.
No ticket,
So
no wash.
I drove home, and I pulled back in the driveway, and I'm like looking to make sure none of the neighbors are watching me because I really got to go pee by this time. So I had to unroll the window on the passenger side and wiggle my legs out, and then, wiggle around till I could squeeze out the window and go in the house so I could pee. So that was an exciting morning. And that's what you get when you laugh at your kids.
Yeah. That's the story, didn't it?
Yep. Hi, Kiwi. I know, I get all the luck, huh? Yeah, pee happens, and it was going to happen, so I had to get out of that car.
You could have used it on the door to melt the snow. I mean, the ice.
Well, that's true. Yeah, I didn't think of that.
But to get in the position that you'd be able to do that, you're already out the door and
yeah,
going inside. Tomorrow's problem, or later that day's problem, the door became.
So yeah, I learned that, if you got strong enough will, you can do it. But I had to look and make sure none of the neighbors were out before I started. What do you got going on, Blacky?
Oh, not a lot. I've lawn that's almost a foot tall because our lawnmower man keeps not showing up, and I haven't heard from the service provider as to why he isn't here. And my lawnmower is broken, so I can't do it, and I've got no fuel. My kids stole my jerry cans. Oh, it's just all hell. All hell with the fact that I'll probably have to go and get fuel, mix some two-stroke fuel.
Yeah, your lawnmower guy's probably smoking that grass.
Well, I'm actually, because we get on really well, so I'm quite concerned that he might have had an injury or something, and no one's passed it on to us. Maybe he's hurt. Because it's been quite a while, and in the summertime, you want your grass mowed at least once every 2 weeks.
Oh, that's a minimum, yeah. Or once a week.
Sometimes it is once a week if you get enough rain, and because we have had a bit of rain, it's just all the grass is going nuts. And there's this, like, maybe 30-inch, that's 2.5 feet, isn't it? Yeah. Line down the one side where the cattle force their heads through the barbed wire fence.
And they can reach it, yeah.
Yeah, they're mowing off the grass to quite a nice height, actually. I was tempted to get an old rope out and actually just tether one to me and walk around the yard with one of them, because we've got a gate out into the paddock, so as long as I could tie it up and felt strong enough that I could restrain it from the gardens and whatnot, I might get the lawn mowed in an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Or I could do one in each hand. That might even be more sensible. I might want to do a few more
Or
push-ups
borrow a
first.
goat from somebody. Hi, Mickey.
Hey, Mickam. G'day.
Just stopping
Night.
by on his way to bed.
Yeah, I guess I've become slack because of relying on a dude to come and mow the lawn every few weeks. So now the prospect of that I've left it so long, it's going to be a terrible job. So yeah, that's a tomorrow thing to worry about. A today thing to worry about is filling my glass again.
Yep, better go do that. Hey, Rack, how are you? If you want to come up, there's a link up at the top. If you want to come up and say hi. Or if you want to come up and listen to me cry about being snowed in. Or show us what you're working on.
They really should say iced in, shouldn't they? Because it is the ice component.
Yeah,
Of the snow.
I'm iced in. I'm not really snowed in. There isn't enough snow out there to be snowed in. It's just that there happens to be a block of ice preventing me from opening my freaking door.
Yeah, I couldn't do a gate divine because I'd have to leave it tethered up because I've got so many, out there's all plants and gardens and stuff as well as a lawn. So bloody goats would take out all my pretty plants. 1.8k watching and only 8 likes. But thank you, Divine, for the reminder to hit the like button. And I strongly recommend that everyone else does so too. Oh, g'day, Rack. Rack popped in while I was outside.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Everybody's been saying, I said hi to him, but I guess you had just walked off. So.
Yeah, I actually heard that from outside, but I wanted to sound spontaneous and stuff,
Oh, I've never seen that one before, GRB.
Yeah, it's quite a deceptive title for a movie name. It's like The Flying Scotsman. It's not even about a flying man. It's about a train. But yes, I'm assuming he rode an Indian brand motorcycle. Does that brand even still exist, or have they been forced to change their name?
What are we drinking today, Blacky?
Turkey soda, standard issue. I've been overdoing the Coca-Cola in the last week and a half-ish. And Coca-Cola Classic, not the zero sugar or Diet Coke, but yes, I've forbade myself from going to the shops today to buy more cola and just get back on the turkey sodas. I was only having, a couple of cola ones a day and then finishing on turkey sodas because I can't do too much caffeine, otherwise I'm just wired.
I
Yes,
live off caffeine, so. But
I probably would if I could. I think if I had more than three serves of caffeine, 3 cups of coffee a day, I think I'd probably have a heart attack by the 3rd day.
Oh, not me. I drink it just like before I go to bed. I'll have a cup of coffee.
Yeah, and I can't have a cup before 3 p.m. Otherwise, I'll be up all night. Well, Kiwi Mamo says they used one of their properties filming that. They redid all the gardens too to look like the right era. That's wild, Janice.
That's neat.
Does that mean you've had Anthony Hopkins on one of your properties? That would be a pretty good claim to fame. Or your granddad knew the real dude's dad. Yeah. What was the guy's name that did the world speed record at the time that Anthony Hopkins played? I know it, but I just can't remember it. Well, it's got water in it, Divine. You'll be okay.
Yeah, that's it.
It's like my brother always says, I don't drink water because fish fuck in it. Doesn't matter what company he's in. He likes to use that one on a regular basis.
I hadn't heard that one before, actually.
Yeah, it's actually a famous quote by someone like maybe W.C. Fields or one of those old-timey comedians. Don Rickles, somewhere around, somewhere in the last 130 years it came from.
Dean Martin?
Maybe. Yeah, I don't think Dean Martin drank much water, did he?
No, I don't think he drank much water at all.
Maybe a dash in his scotch. Oh, I watched, there's this show called, actually Bobo would be really interested, I reckon. The show's called Feud, and it's by one of the dudes who did the American Horror Story anthology series. So this Feud show is an anthology series as well, and the first season was about the Betty Davis and Joan Crawford feud that they had in the 50s, I'm going to say, early 50s, when they were filming. They filmed the movie What Happened to Baby Jane together, which is
yeah, I remember the movie.
It's often credited as one of the first horror movies because it was really bizarre and,
That
different.
sounds right, Grasshopper. Grasshopper says it was W.C. Fields.
Thank you. Wow, wait. I knew if I just put a notion out there, it'd be solved in a matter of moments. But yeah, a fantastic insight into like Hollywood through the 30s and 40s and 50s and stuff. And
that was the big heydays of Hollywood. It's not as big now as it used to be.
And
not as big a stars as there used to be, I should say that.
Well, yeah, they get paid more money, but I don't think it's difficult times. But Joan Crawford was played by Jessica Lange. See you, Mickham. Night. Sleep well. Jessica Lange has always been one of my favourite beautiful people ever, but unfortunately, as she's gotten older, she's done a little bit too much filler and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I hate that.
And
I really do. It's like Madonna doesn't even look like Madonna anymore. She's got so much cheekbones and stuff. She doesn't look real anymore.
She looks like a robot waiting for a chip to be implanted. G'day, Chew. And Susan Sarandon played Betty Davis, and she's also she's one of my favorite humans ever, let alone that I think she's extremely beautiful, and she's, hasn't done a thing to herself, and she's still beautiful.
Yeah.
Pardon me. But yeah, really good show, really good insight into the relationship and all the other actors around them and stuff as well. And then the second season, which reminds me, the next episode came out last night. The second season is about Truman Capote and all of the, what did he call them? His swans. Truman and the Swans. You familiar with Truman Capote?
No, it sounds familiar. I'd probably recognize him if I saw him, but
he's a very outspoken writer through the 70s and into the 80s, and a well-known socialite and public alcoholic, and it's been very interesting. But it's one of those shows that's releasing one episode a week, and its new episode came out last night and I didn't watch it.
American novelist and screenwriter.
Which one?
Truman Capote.
Truman. Yeah.
An actor.
Oh, did he act as well?
He did Breakfast at Tiffany's and In Cold Blood.
That'll be interesting if his acting starts popping up in the show. It's funny because I started watching season 2, the Truman one, before I even knew that season 1 existed. G'day, Rakos.
Hey, Blacky. Hey, Punchy.
Hey.
How do you doing, my friend?
I'm well. How are you guys?
Wellish.
I'm
got a little bit of a
on
headache,
my trivia. I'm very weak at it. I admire your knowledge, Mikey. Thanks for sharing.
I store so much useless information in this skull of mine. It's ridiculous.
I think that's a mark of intelligence, and I appreciate it.
DJ, hello.
G'day, TJ.
Yeah, I've still got ask me how I am. I'm pissed. I'm like, have you ever it's been over a week now. I have not been able to get out of my house.
Oh, cabin fever is real.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, and it's not like last week. It's like, well, I got to get to the post office, and every morning I get up and I think I'm going to get that damn door open today, and then no, I haven't gotten it open yet.
I saw.
But other than that, it's like I really have no place to go anyway. It's just the fact that I can't get out that makes me mad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you feel like you're incarcerated. To an extent, you are.
Well, also to be fair, there's a fair chance that if you do go out your door, you're going to slip over on something.
Yeah, that's true too. I'll have to make sure I take my cane and stuff with me so I don't fall on my ass when I do get out.
And your spiked shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Need some of those mountain climbing shoes with metal spikes in the bottom of them. Stomp your way across the ice.
Oh, I have fallen in ice just more than once, believe me. But I'm old now, and I don't want to fall because I don't bounce like I used to.
Even at my age, it's difficult to get up from down on crouched one knee sort of thing. So I can appreciate that. Mm-hmm. Kiwi Mame thankfully reminded me that it was Burt Munro that Anthony Hopkins played in The World's Fastest Indian. GRB is having issues with medications he's taking and probably needs to have a sleep. I missed those comments in the chat before.
Back at you, Divine Lover 1.
You can probably find Divine. You can probably find Are You Being Served on one of those channels that streams old TV shows and stuff. That was always funny. I think when I was first exposed to it, I like I was too young. I didn't get the the euphemisms and the illusory dialogue that they had talking about weird stuff that young boys aren't supposed to understand yet. I didn't even understand when Mrs. Slocum talked about her pussy. I always thought she was just referring to her poor cat at home.
Wasn't she?
Well, she was, but the way it was written, it was always some kind of dreadful euphemism that you could associate with one lady's vagina, perhaps.
I found a lot of that when I watched the old Batman reruns. That was adult humor. They're trying to
Definitely.
pass along to the kids.
Anything that's that campy has to have some, mum and dad jokes snuck in there somewhere.
Catwoman, right?
Yeah, which one was the best though? Eartha Kitt, Lee Merriweather, and I think there was a third one. Julie Newmar, was she a Catwoman?
Oh, it wasn't who was the best. It was who was the worst.
Oh, Halle Berry, easily.
Ooh. They're all so bad.
Michelle Pfeiffer was pretty good.
Who is it that played Poison Ivy on? I remember a couple shows with her.
Oh, on the old TV show.
There are YouTube videos on all of those people. It's very interesting. We consume it as information, but those were actually people and they had lives.
But yeah, Lee Merriweather was definitely my number one Catwoman.
I think so too. I think that's the one that's burned into my memory.
Yeah, burned, literally.
I think
burned
she made me the most uncomfortable. She
that's a really good way to put it. Because as an 11 or 12-year-old boy watching her play Catwoman, I definitely became quite uncomfortable.
Right. Yeah, she was openly seductive, and it was one of those coming of age moments when you recognized this is bad, but I like it. But Batman was a good example.
He was.
He was right up to the edge and said, "Nope, can't do this. You got to go to jail. I've got crime to fight."
Yeah, what a quality. I wonder, is that streaming somewhere too? Someone's missing out if they're not streaming old episodes of the Batman TV show. Bloody hell, I think I've just given Huawei like 19 jobs in the last 2 minutes. And I bet he's feverishly working at every single one of them. Yeah, I had a haircut. Did you notice?
I thought you just had it pulled back.
Yeah, I got it pulled back, but I, shaved all this shit off.
Oh yeah, well, you can tell I need
all
to.
This long beard off.
I
Your
trim
beard's
around
way
the
bigger
ears.
than mine
That's
now.
it. Yeah, I need to go in for some
Emma Peel.
shoveling. What, PM?
Daniel says that he liked Emma Peel.
Yeah, she was she the saint? It's Offsider, or was she? Who was the one with the umbrella? That was the saint, wasn't it? No.
The Avengers.
Yeah.
Avengers. Yeah, that's the umbrella guy, isn't it?
Yeah, the Avengers. That was a good show. I really liked that one.
Kat says, Rich wants to know what a turkey soda is.
Me too. Go ahead.
It's this thing that I drink. It's just wild turkey and soda water. Now, I need to clarify something, because I've heard differing things in the last few weeks about what club soda is. Now, I was always under the impression that club soda was just lemon squash, a fizzy lemon flavored drink, and soda water.
I think it's just soda water, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's what some people say, that club soda is soda water.
Yeah. Club soda versus soda water. So let's see what the difference is. Club soda
Right.
is similar to sparkling water because it also has some minerals. However, the biggest difference between the two is that manufacturers add carbonation and minerals after the fact. They don't occur naturally in club soda like they do in sparkling water.
Right.
I don't know how you know the difference other than the label.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did a thing where because we have soda water and we have sparkling mineral water, and the sparkling mineral water is apparently the one where the bubbles are in it naturally. I think it's
Yep.
bullshit.
Yep.
And then soda water is just,
It's
probably
added after the fact.
tap water that's been thrown through a massive scale soda stream machine. But you look on there, everything in Australia, food labels have to list every single, ingredient and what it contains. And you look at the labels for both of them, and they're exactly identical. 0.05% sodium or something like that is the only ingredient on there, pretty much, other than water. So yeah, I don't understand the difference. But yeah, for a long time, I always assumed that club soda was lemon squash.
Hmm.
So
Nope.
now I know. Now I know not to order a turkey club soda. No, I do know that I can, because I wouldn't want turkey with lemon squash, although that could be worth trying. It's probably nice. Lemonade is nice.
All of this time, Blackie, I thought you were just drinking a beer. That looks like the color of beer on the screen.
Many people have said that as well. Many people have also said with the amount of froth and bubbles that it could be urine.
Cheers. Good enough for Gandhi, right?
Yeah, well, it's still got water in it. Your
So
body
did
just
you
has
see
to.
the drawings that I've got
Minerals? Yeah,
for
you
sale
got
right
some
now,
club
Rick?
soda going on. What's that, Pam?
You want to see my new drawings?
Of course I do.
I don't know if you saw them before you came up or
No,
not.
no, I didn't. I was getting a few of my own together to show. I didn't want to come up empty-handed.
Okay, yeah. Well, we need to see yours too, but I'll go
Yeah,
ahead
I
and
don't have the sparkling personality that Blackie does. I've got to bring work.
Yeah, I don't have an Aldi here, GRB. The nearest one's like 45 minutes away, but I do just get the cheap one from Woolies. Oh, and far out, I've got a soda stream machine as well that I could be doing heaps of my own soda water. G'day, Derek.
Nice, Pam.
Yeah, I really
Hey,
like
Derek.
that one. I love the colors are just banging.
Yeah,
That's a 8x10 colored pencil, matted to 11 by 14.
8x10.
Yeah,
Lovely, Pam.
8x10.
Are we selling this one?
Yeah, it's for sale.
What's the starting bid on that?
150.
Oh, wow, so reasonable.
Yeah, that's actually really cheap for that.
Sure is.
And then, of course, I got the Buffalo that I've showed a million times, but
I thought you sold it.
no, did not sell it.
Okay, still available. 200, 300, what?
150 starting one for that too.
Okay.
And it's the same thing. It's a 8x10 matted to an 11 by 14, but it's on papyrus paper.
That's gorgeous too.
I guess I should show it, huh? Just briefly
Always.
here.
Where are my 150 people at? Oh, yes.
That's the Buffalo.
Stately. What a beast.
And then I've got a couple smaller drawings. I've got, I think you'll like this one too. This one was just like, I was cutting up a sheet of paper into ACEO cards and stuff, and I ended up with a little scrap of paper that was 2 inches by 5 inches, and I decided, you know what? I am going to use that one. So I did. So this is a 2 inch by 5 inch drawing. And I think Rack will appreciate this one.
Let me see. Oh, yeah. Wow. So how old are these subjects? Did you photograph these years ago?
Yep. At the dances on the Crow Indian Reservation. They have dances.
Wow. So now you had the cooperation of the Crow Nation to take pictures and recreate, or what?
Yeah.
That is so awesome.
And see the little bells on the back of her dress.
Oh, it's wonderful, Pam.
And the dimensions. It always throws you when you don't see something in standard, you know, what everyone presents, a 4x3 or a 6x9 or something. And then you see something that's a little bit perfect in another way. It's good. I like it.
What was the size of that one, Pam?
2 inches by 5 inches.
Oh, yeah. Wow. A little desktop treasure.
That's
what are you going to
nice.
sell that one for? What's the starting price on that?
That one, actually, the starting bid on that one is $30.
And you're going to ship that as soon as the snow melts away from your door and you get it.
Yeah, I've got it all I've got it all matted and ready to go. I've got everything matted and ready to go. It's just goddamn snow won't get away from my door.
Do you have a roof hatch?
No.
We did go through we went through a window scenario earlier that she wasn't bad either.
Well, it's good to have a fire escape.
I did tell some stories about climbing out windows.
Oh, I don't want to go there. You guys go ahead.
And then I've got this one here that I didn't take a picture of it till after dark, so it's kind of a crappy picture, but I can still share it. It is two baby
Two baby what? I'm sorry.
Bighorns.
Bighorn. Okay. Oh wow. Those are babies.
Yeah.
What's the size of that card?
That's a ACEO card, so it's 2.5 by 3.5 inches.
And you want to start the price at
to start is $20.
$20. Wow.
Yeah.
So original art from the Pam Early one starting at $20. Wow.
And I've got this one too, but I haven't gotten a picture of it yet. And I bet you can guess what that is.
I can. Can anybody else?
Is it a baby mallard?
Close.
I'm only allowed one guess. It's up to someone else.
Chat. Come on, chat. Who knows what that is? One of my favorite Pam paintings that I own is a pair of those.
It is a female wood duck.
Wood duck. I was going to say black duck, but our ducks here that are colored black, more black than brown, are called wood ducks. And I had the wrong species in my head.
Well, in America, when we think of wood duck, we think of the male, which is gorgeous, stunning.
The males are just like super flashy, yeah.
Well, I got it right.
And the females are just cute with a little white circle around their eyes.
Yeah, they're safe to guard the nest.
Google up an Australian wood duck. I might actually do it too, so I can actually be sure that I'm talking about the right species of bird.
Brown-headed, light-colored body.
Yeah. And that we've just finished their not just, I suppose it was a month or so ago, maybe even longer. Time moves so different down here, you know. But yeah, they wander around town with their little clans of babies and stuff, and people stop and let them cross the road, and people are
They're
kind.
quite cute.
Very pretty birds, and they look so tasty as well. And then the other one that we
Yep.
get locally is a black duck. Now I'm I'm fact checking myself as well. Yep, black duck. Good. Like quite plain, but they've got a lovely green flash in their wing, which is quite pretty. And their wings make funny noises when they fly.
Oh, wow.
Like they squeak. Have you got birds that when they fly, they go because their wings are squeaking? Or is that just is that vocal noises maybe that because they're putting so much energy into it?
Several of our North American birds make wing noises.
Yeah, I remember sitting in it's a really eerie feeling when you're sitting in a duck blind and the lake is like totally socked in with fog and you can hear the ducks flying overhead. Sounds like a flying saucer or something kind of.
The woodcock, which is basically a wading bird or a shorebird that lives in the woods, it uses wing noise as part of its mating call.
Yeah. What did you call it? Woodcock.
American woodcock, also colloquially called the timberdoodle.
Timberdoodle. Oh my God, I was so slow on that one. Far out. Is that legitimate or was that a rack joke?
No,
They do it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's
Yeah.
probably
It's too good
more.
not to use.
It's well known by that and less known by its sanctioned common name, the American woodcock.
That's so good. It's good when ornithologists get together on a joke.
Correct.
They kind of strut too. They have kind of a bouncy walk.
I was just looking for a video, Pam, because it's so cool.
I suppose you'd have to walk funny if your beak was that big. No.
Let's see. I don't know if I can post that link or not. I'll try it in chat.
Wonder if it's called a cock, like with the fish, with the cock. Because then that would be really funny if you said that, if your cock was that big, of course you'd walk funny. But that's just me. Never mind.
Every adult in the room, put your kids to bed. Pam's gone off the rail.
Sorry.
I don't believe you, Pam. Well, that wouldn't post in chat.
I can't do sheep either, Divine. They'd eat all my other garden plants as well. They're just as bad as goats for tasty plants.
I think sheep, if I remember what I've read right, sheep kind of crop it too low. So they wouldn't be the best choice because they would crop it like really low.
Yeah, that's why most sheep farms you see are always divided into much smaller paddocks because they rotate them for that reason, that they expose too many roots and they want to eat the woody root stuff as well as the grass on top.
Yeah, so sheep would not be the best animal to pick to mow your lawn for you.
Plus, I just want to slaughter it and eat it straight away because it's one of my favourite meats.
Well, good evening, Derek.
Derek, what is up?
Hey.
Oh, let me get there. We go. All right, that's better. How y'all doing?
Sorry. That looks like a nice chair, Derek. Is it comfortable?
Oh,
Here's
yeah.
your chair. Pardon me.
Mm-hmm.
My chair is like a plastic school chair. I find them the most comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
can't do reclining chairs or lounge chairs because they mess with my back problem.
I get that.
So I'm very jealous when I see someone like you're doing right now, reclining in a chair so comfortably. It's like, I can never do that for more than a minute at a time without repercussions the next day.
Oh boy.
You know, I think I just made Rack think about his posture.
Yeah, it reminded me of how uncomfortable I am in this chair.
I don't know. I got this a few months back for like $200, so better last me.
I'll show you the quality of my chair. Didn't cost me a cent.
Mm-hmm. I've got like an old office chair, an old metal office chair with wheels on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
It does okay.
Yeah.
It's really old though. It's probably like at least 50 years old.
Hey, the older the better sometimes.
My favorite thing about this chair, apart from the fact that it's good for my back, is that I have the same chair outside that I sit on when I'm out there smoking ciggies and doing crosswords and stuff. And then I've got 2 more piles of 8 of them. I'm not going to run out anytime soon.
Yep.
I think I got a link in the chat for that woodcock strut.
And it is not massaging, which is fine. I don't think things getting weird.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's like a Michael Jackson bird.
He's got it going on.
Mm-hmm.
2 steps forward. Yeah, that's a wicked boogie. Is that to deceive predators with his camouflage, I guess, looking at the background and his
it's like
feathers?
it's a leaf blowing in the wind or similar.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Crafty bugger. I wonder what they taste like.
They are a game bird here, and lots of folks eat them like similar to a dove.
Silly. Or a quail.
The dove is a seed eater, and that is a carnivore. It eats a lot of worms. So higher protein would have a different flavor. I can't speak from personal experience. I'm a fan of the chicken, the red jungle fowl. And why go to the extra effort of eating a smaller bird when chicken is on every corner? I don't know.
I had chicken tonight, actually. So,
did you make it yourself, Derek, or go to one of the restaurants?
I made it myself. I had some frozen chicken. Thank you.
What, Pam, did you show all your pictures?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's your turn.
Okay. I've been working in series on my trout skins. Here's the latest rendition.
Nice. Very nice.
Here's the one on the hat. There's the small canvas. Just a little acrylic canvas. Brown trout skin. And also the flies are still in. I don't know if I showed you this the last time. I sketched a fly on my mug.
Oh, that's neat. I like that.
Yeah, that's getting a lot of positive attention. Tonight I was just fooling around and sketched a bonefish. Bonsai, that's how the Japanese pronounce bonsai, meaning the small tree, not jumping out of an airplane. Bonsai. So bonefish is probably the holy grail of fish to catch on a fly. Also, Pam, I can't show you right now, but I have 2 paintings that a friend of mine painted because we're doing an art pass. I've
Yeah.
never been involved in one, but I hear they're lots of fun. I'm going to paint on top of his paintings. And I've also given him 2 of my paintings to paint on, not to cover and repaint the canvas, but to add to, kind of
Add to it, yeah.
collaborate. Yeah. And
That
we'll
sounds like
pass
fun.
that back and forth. And so then we're both veterans, both Army veterans. And so the local Veteran Art Center is going to host a show for us, me and this other Sergeant First Class who went to art school. We're going to have a show with 4 collaborative pieces and then a number of each of our own works at a local restaurant. And the restaurant is also a gaming pub. They have lots of board games and scheduled game nights during the week. And they have a beautiful old Irish bar in the back, and they sell like 15 different Guinness drinks, Guinness beer mixed with other beer, Guinness beer mixed with other drinks. They have about 15 of those, and it's a fun place. We're going to have a show there in September. So I can give you more on that as it develops. But today I picked up his paintings and dropped off my paintings, so the collaboration has begun.
Nice.
Very nice. That sounds like a lot of fun.
I'm a little nervous. I've never done it before. Have you done it before, Pam? An art pass?
No, I have not. I remember like
Interesting.
talking about doing it, but I've never done it.
Yeah, I mean,
I
can only
did
imagine
one of those like the collage things that make a picture, like
yeah.
what I'm talking about.
I mean, I couldn't do it to one of your paintings, Pam. I would be like, no, I just can't. Be like desecration. But this guy says he's been doing it since he was in college, and the art department's thing at a party would be to have a blank canvas at the door, and as you came in, you did your thing, and then everyone did it on the canvas, and at the end, the host got to keep the canvas, and he's never stopped. So we'll see where this goes. There's definitely going to be an art show in September, a local art show because of it.
That sounds awesome.
And that will be following my art show in July with all of the trout stuff. Which let me grab this piece over here. You can't, it's in frame, but you can't tell what it is.
Sorry, GRB. Yeah, the little 2x5 Indian girl, that one is $30. Probably $35 once it's shipped because I got it matted fairly big. So
who was asking about that? GRB?
GRB, yeah.
Cool.
I think I scared him because he asked me about the Indian girl and I quoted him the price for the bigger one, but I think he was interested in the little one. And yeah, that'd be like $35 to ship it to you. That is cool. I really like that.
I tied all of these trout flies, and
I figured you probably did, but
I like that.
I like that presentation of them. That is really neat.
All of these have caught fish.
Very nice.
These are stoppers from bourbon bottles.
Ah, nice.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I hesitate to say they've been upcycled.
Well, that'd be like you catch the fish with the lures and you catch the fishermen with the stoppers.
Yeah. And I think the corks here, they're probably serving a higher purpose in the liquor bottle. So they've been downcycled. We'll say they're downcycled.
Very cool.
Yeah. You can't see very well, but some of those flies are pretty cool. Some float, they're dry flies, and some sink. We call those a wet fly. But these are all very popular in our eastern mountain rivers for brown trout,
Yeah.
brook trout, and rainbow trout. And then these have become popular little desk mobiles.
Oh, yeah. Those are cool.
Yeah, and there's another fly that I've tied. This as if it's rising to eat the fly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't know why she swallowed the fly. Perhaps she'll die.
Hmm.
Sorry. Oh,
Mama tried. And then in the background over here, you can see the orange tail of a fish.
yeah. Yeah.
That's a redfish. It's a saltwater species. And their tails stick out of the water when they feed, as their mouth goes to the bottom to feed. Their
Oh, wow.
tail sticks out.
Cool.
So that's called tailing. And down in the Florida Lagoon, where we visited on vacation last month, we went out on the boat to see the flamingos, and we also saw redfish tailing. And that's huge in fishing culture down there, the tailing redfish. So that was my rendition. When you look up redfish art,
Do they catch the redfish and eat them? Are they good eating?
to the point of they're now starting to catch and release because the stock, it's a big industry because guides are able to get $500 for a half a day to take people around on their boats to fish for them, and people won't pay that if they're not there to fish. So
They are tasty.
push to catch and release now, but they are good to eat, and they once were plentiful. And while we were out there, we saw a lot of the manatees. I think we talked about that the last time.
Yeah. I love those manatees. They're cool.
What'd you call them in Australia, Blacky?
Dugong.
Dugong. Yep.
That's our indigenous word for them.
Massive.
Mm.
That's all I have. The rest is in the studio, Pam. It's fun to have artist space that's cluttered with everywhere you look, there's something. Oh, I got these new guitar picks. They came in. Blacky.
Oh, cool. Let me blow you up. Show those. Those are very cool. So fly.
Let's see. There we go.
Fly. Thank you. Yeah, I couldn't get it. My eyes are bad enough without focus issues.
So I told the story last time. That's that was the assigned email address that Google gave. There it is. Thank you, camera.
That's right.
The assigned
Beautiful.
email address that Google gave me when I signed up for my first Gmail account was So Mr. Fly. And everyone
Yes.
laughed at So Mr. Fly. So I started fly fishing again and recalled that from the 90s, I guess, and brought it back. So now it's a quasi brand for me, So Fly. So I use that image on all of my Instagram posts. And you've seen the brook trout sticker.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Based off the one up on your wall, isn't it? Is that
Yeah,
the same?
it's very enlarged on the wall. That thing's like 40 inches.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was a good trip.
Now, Rack, have you heard anything in the last few days about a King of DIY rant on Instagram?
No.
It seems to have been pretty quiet, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's
I think I'm the
Usually
only
those things,
person on the
usually
planet.
those things go around pretty fast with people complaining about it, but
What's up?
Now? Oh, well, I might let you people be the judge.
yeah, you got to send me a clip.
I'll share it from here because it's a massive file, so I can't send it. You have to, okay, you've got it. You've worked it out.
Okay.
I'll get rid of that so I can see the buttons.
200,000, 300,000, 400,000 of those subscribers. It just wouldn't have hit the same. Then I went live, and like 1,000 and 1,200 tuned in. But you just had 7,000 people subscribe to your channel.
It's currently working up to one of the controversial things that he'll say.
Turn up the sound a little bit if you can.
And I taught when I trained behind the scenes. And same with
I can't really.
Fucking buying them subs. Like that's some dirty garbage ass podcast bullshit. And Giselle was challenged to fight. He said, "Oh, I'm too old." So not only do you buy subs, but you're a bitch. Fucking punk. Tell that. Not only did you buy your subs, but you're a bitch. You're a bitch. Now go dye your hair. What, gray? Pink?
What?
Yeah,
Can you hear it okay, though?
I can hear it, but
Well, I hear part of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch it.
Serena, everybody got a Rolex and they're talking about Joey. Of course they are. Nobody gives a fuck about you. Fucking losers.
Who in the world is he talking about?
You and your fucking
Multiple people.
Did he name names?
Green products might claim to fame. No, it wasn't. I'm your claim to fame. Do you want to go through the DMs? Do you want to?
Yeah, well, that's an interesting thing. It's because he constantly throughout the whole video was asking the people in chat, because he was saying that he's got dirt on people and that he can, if people would come at him, he's got all sorts of defenses for it. And so he was asking the people in the chat to give him names to get him started, but every time someone would put something in the chat, he wasn't talking about them. He went on a bit of a rant. I think I just did the Corey one. Let's try and find. I wrote down some timestamps because no one needs to sit through 20 minutes of this.
Someone mentioned Corey in the chat, and he started talking about Rolexes.
I'll go back a bit because it's pretty good when he's letting loose on Dean.
What's the fucking guy that works for him that's getting paid big money? He's a master of the master breeder. Here's a fun fact: are you respected in your aquarium club? I know more than you do.
Oh my god.
wow.
Master breeder. You ain't a master breeder. You fucking bred a couple dumb shits.
Oh my god.
Just copied my video. Fuck off.
I don't know if he was talking about his kids there, where he said you just bred a couple of dumb shits.
He's making money, so you don't care about us. Making all kinds of fucking dough on the internet. And views were not views; they were I'd have to go through my DMs, but like shit, I can't remember. It's from sales. Y'all remember to like hobbyists or views. Some other word, I can't remember. Just a sales opportunity.
Some of the chat was so funny too.
Gordon said shit about me for a long time. He knows why. Because Joey's waiting. Joey's upset now. Joey's not putting up with that no more. Hey, Corey and Co-op, talk that shit again. Lie some more. Lie. It's like, and people get,
I think I realized what I did wrong. I'm going to have to try that again because I don't think I shared audio. I think you're not hearing the audio properly because I didn't.
Yeah, we aren't hearing it very good.
Yeah.
I've just clicked. I'll stop that screen. I'll try and start another one and actually click all the settings I'm supposed to click. Oh. Just there.
Haven't been paying attention to chat. How are they receiving all this?
Hey, there's Boots.
Craig's Catfish Caves here. Saying
To
hey to
share
everybody.
audio, share a
Boot.
tab or screen instead.
Boots cats.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know. I could hear it, but I couldn't hear anything intelligent coming out. That's
because there's an issue with sharing the audio when I've got it open in a separate window. So now I'm trying to move it to a tab or its own screen. How the do I do that, bros?
Thank you, TJ, for the compliment. Divine, the board that the corks were on is reclaimed pallet wood. I kept thinking if I had the YouTube audience that Joey had, I wouldn't let things bother me like that. And then I see that gold plaque behind him. I'm like, oh, well, he could be working the system. It could be this is how you get 1 million subscribers instead of 2,000.
I don't know, but I've talked to a couple people that have met him in person, and they did not have high opinions of him. I'll just say that.
I've heard that before.
Well, I've
Yeah.
talked to him several times. I mean, I guess you have to understand everybody's situation is different. The guy has a horde of people around him all the time. Do you expose yourself? Do you put on a celebrity facade? I don't know how I would handle it.
Well,
one
person I talked to told me that he made some very sexist comments to her.
Mm-hmm.
Some very out of line stuff. And from what I understand, that's not uncommon.
Favorite fucking fish tanks you like about it?
Does that sound come through better now?
Just 3. Only
Yes.
3.
Yeah.
A little better, yeah.
He's dead. That motherfucker should have lived 20 years.
Oh, yeah, that's clear.
You suck. Name your top 3 fish tanks that he did. Aquarium Co-op was never his idea. It was his last fucking job. Ask Dustin from Dustin's Fish Tanks. Dude's been in fucking lawsuit after lawsuit about how he fucking steals from people. Like, let's open our fucking eyes. Not just him, just everybody. Every fucking body. And you know what I get to do? I can talk like this and nothing happens to me. You know why? Because I'm the fucking one. Have a debate. Oh, that's not deep enough, Joey. Let's go deeper. Let's.
Yeah, he kept going on like this about going deeper, and he was asking for people to bring up names. But as you can see, where I've paused it, someone's put Paul Cafaro in the chat, but he didn't read it. And then, it was kind of getting annoying that that he was asking for input from his audience, but he wasn't actually taking input.
What do we want to do? We want to do like National Geographic people that were signed? Like what? Like what? Zach likes little girls? Oh, we got that. Small fishing. What, you like little girls? I know you like little girls.
That's
You
yeah.
got proof you like little girls.
Don't know if I should have played that
And
one.
I'm supposed to sit over here and be like, everybody's cool. That's what they do. I'm not fucking doing it anymore. Fuck them. What if I designed a company?
And yeah, I decided to start typing in the chat.
And then you just sit there fucking talking shit. Talking, man. Talk. Talk. I'm the fucking
I probably
aquarium
shouldn't have left my chat
I
heads
am,
open, should I?
Who's the guy that comes out with the fucking spade?
How the hell did my picture get on that screen?
Yeah, that's what I meant. And message from Pamela.
Everyone gets some sense. It's been a while, man.
Group chat.
But all right, ladies and gentlemen, if nobody's
and because if I do a screen recording, yeah, for some reason it takes a photo of me in the screen recording and records all of my audio as well. So yeah, throughout the video there's me taking my mum to the toilet and cooking her some dinner.
nobody's gonna like name names or fucking trigger me or
yeah, I decided to type in the chat about here-ish to try and get him to respond, but he still wasn't reading the chat. Oh yeah, and he buffered for a bit. Probably gave me time to type. I'd be interested to see if he even remembers me.
Yeah, well, that was well played. Good strategy.
Mm-hmm.
We have drunk on Instagram live together before.
Everybody's lying to you. They're lying.
I think some shit came out of that one too.
Manipulating it. And if you're like, oh, that's my hero. Okay, you fucking cuck. I got no respect.
But yeah, I don't think he really wanted input from his audience. I think he just wanted to rant and get a whole bunch of shit out of his system.
All right. I'm out. Fuck it.
All right, I'll stop that now.
Yeah, I think he had an idea where he was headed with that before he started. It wasn't random.
Well,
no,
it went for quite a while, and the first, even though all of what I've just played was quite uncomfortable, the first 10 to 15 minutes was very uncomfortable. Not the things that he was saying, but the things that were going on between him and his partner there. And there was this very interesting little moment where the stream just stopped after it really seemed like they were about to have a fight or something. And yeah, he's Canadian, Trav. Yeah, the stream stopped and then it started again a few minutes later. And yeah, she was out of camera and doing her own thing off to the side, but also she was in the chat as well, saying that she was okay and that she was having the time of her life where she is and stuff, because people were telling her in the chat, you've got to stop this, stop him, he's going to ruin his life. And she's going, we're having a good time, you know, it's great, it's all good. And yeah, people just wouldn't stop doing that. It's like, let the guy vent. But yeah, he says he's got, you know, he's got dirt on a bunch of YouTubers and stuff. So
yeah, that seems like a BS. If you have dirt
Well-
on people, you shouldn't have to ask for names in the chat. Like,
Then why has no one said anything? Why has there been no furor over this? Why is
Yeah,
this?
I'm kind of surprised
this
because a
live
few other
stream?
times he's gone on a rant. It's like that's all you hear about for days and days on other
Yeah.
channels.
the only thing I can think of is that he's done it so much, people are just tired of it, and they just don't give any.
Don't give it any credence.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is a good point.
I mean, I don't know much. I've been out of the loop. I haven't been in the fish community that often, so I don't know what's going on.
Lol, GRB, I was there that night. You did fine, mate. It didn't matter how many tequila shots you had. You did fine. I think I probably behaved worse than you did on that live stream. The Australians took over Only Oscar's live stream the other night.
Oh, that must have been fun. I missed that.
It was me and GRB and Adele, and then June. And June didn't get many words in edgewise.
Hey, where's Bob?
He's taken a break from doing a lot of live streaming.
But if by that you mean you made him mad, I understand.
Probably, yeah.
Hmm.
More than likely, yes.
He's
He's
okay.
taking a break from my live streams. We'll put it that way.
I spoke to him yesterday. He's doing good, but he's still very busy.
I
Oh,
guess
g'day, Craig.
sings that the arc never slowed down.
The truth comes out in the wash. Yeah, I guess it will.
Joey has some good things about him, and I used to watch his show all the time, but he's drunk a lot and he's very full of himself. But
Well, it was his videos that actually got me interested in fish. So.
yeah, I used to watch his do-it-yourself videos all the time.
It was his videos that got me back into fish. So, a lot of credit still goes to that guy. And he's very knowledgeable.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He's talented. He's got the skills.
Mhm.
So, if you're tough and you're intelligent and you can handle your piss, why not be a little bit arrogant and self-proud? You've
Oh my
earned
God.
Oh my
Speaking
God.
of arrogant and self-proud, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you got it.
I had to throw that out there.
You got it. If I'm not going to be, who is?
Oh my God.
Not me.
Not me.
Oh,
What's up? What's going on?
Hey, dude.
Not much.
Not much.
I just
nothing?
played some Joey videos, so we were talking about Joey.
Oh, you were playing some videos?
Some snippets, shall
What
we
were you
say?
playing? What were you playing? What was it? I missed it.
Oh,
It
do you
was-
want
oh
to go
God.
It was
it again.
it was a Joey rant on Instagram.
Ah,
Mm.
One of his drunken Joey rant.
makes sense. Makes sense. It's viable.
I can play them again if you want.
Well, I missed him. I was trying to deal with the airlines. Booking,
I got some
booking.
I got
tickets
some
is-
timestamps, so I can go to some key moments if you like.
Is there anything interesting? Was it just regular nonsense of a drunkard?
mean, Let the crowd be the judge of that.
Hmm.
Let the panel. What do you say to that question? Was there anything interesting?
I don't know. He was saying he had dirt on people, and he was cussing a lot. So I don't know.
It pretty much sums it up.
And he was coming down hard on Corey and Bean. Yeah.
Got to remember which timestamps were which. I should have taken more notes.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, I'm gonna step down for a minute too.
400,000 of those subscribers. It just wouldn't have hit the same. And then I went live,
Whoops.
and like
Sorry.
1,000 or 1,200 tuned in, but you just had 70,000 people subscribe to your channel that month. Co-op, you're fucking garbage, dude. You'll never be one of us. You always want to be like me. And I taught you and I trained you behind the scenes.
Oh my God.
Tozawa, fucking buying them subs. Like, that's some dirty, garbage ass, punk ass bullshit. And Tozawa was challenged to fight. He said, oh, I'm too old. So not only do you buy subs, but you're a bitch. Fucking punk. Tell him that. Not only did you buy your subs, but you're a bitch. You're a bitch. Now go dye your hair. What, gray? Pink? What are you doing? Fuck off. Corey's got all that money worried about buying a Rolex. Well, watch his lives. Like, every time I step into the business arena, everybody got a Rolex and they're talking about Joey. Of course they are. Nobody gives a fuck about you. Fucking losers. You and your fucking... Oh, Mike, green products is my claim to fame. No, it wasn't. I'm your claim to fame. Do you want to go through the DMs? Do you want to bring it up? I'm bringing it up.
He never brings it up, by the way.
Dude's a fucking punk and a seller, and he just goes after. Here's a fun fact. Co-op. I'm looking to get a hold of all your products, and I'm going to review them, and I'm going to honestly review them. It's not going to do well because you know my reviews are honest because you said that. You love my reviews. You can't.
I'll scrub forward a bit. We don't need constant.
He's a master of the master breeder. Here's a fun fact. Are you respected in your aquarium club? I know more than you do.
That's a bit silly.
Nope. You're garbage, dude. What's his fucking name? Master breeder. You ain't a master breeder. You fucking bred a couple dumb shits. Fuck off. And then you just talk my videos. Fuck off. Corey sucks donkey dick. Well, he's making money, so he don't care about us. He made all kinds of fucking dough off the internet. And views were not views. They were, I'd have to go through my DMs. Oh, that's not deep enough, Joey. Let's go deeper. Let's dive deeper. What do we want to do? We want to do like National Geographic people that were song.
So many times people
Like
called Paul Cafaro
Like
in the chat, and he didn't respond.
Zach likes little girls. Oh, we got that. Catch small fishing. What, you like little girls? I know you like little girls. We got proof you like little girls. And not fucking like hyper.
Yeah, that's about all we need to see. But it's more of the same. It was a lot of general ranting and
Just
yeah.
Joey being an ass. Basically.
He was-
I mean, to be honest, it just sounds like a drunk guy being drunk and just being
Yeah.
mad about. He's just being mad about something, you know.
yeah. Well,
and
as I was saying,
I think
not long
realistically,
before you
like
popped up.
if he's mad about something, it's probably because like nobody really wants to work with him. You know, he's burned a lot of bridges with a lot of people, and I really don't think like people want to do anything with him. So, like when you get
being
down to it, like,
ostracized with his power.
when you get down to it, like he's making enough money that he's going to continue to sustain like his presence and all of the stuff that he's doing. And, you know, I think realistically, like a lot of people don't want to work with the guy. So, you know, then that just makes people mad, you know, then they get mad and they start doing mad stuff, like just yelling at people and just yelling about stuff and getting drunk in the middle of the night and ranting and raving, and that generally the times that I've met Joey, that's what he was doing. So I don't think it's any different than his.
Hey,
Yeah.
William.
I don't think it's any different than his
It's
normal
consistent.
behavior.
At least the lad's consistent.
So I mean,
G'day, Corey, Nonna, William. How's it going?
I wouldn't say like any of the impressions I've ever gotten from having met the guy was really any different than what that Instagram video was. It's pretty much the entirety of every time I've ever talked to him has been just like that. So
Yeah, that's
Joel.
That's kind of I've never met him, but I've talked to a couple people that have met him, and he generally does not sound like that impressive to me. I'll just put it that way. Like generally, he sounds like pretty much an ass most of the time.
Oh, is my audio low? Oh my God.
A little bit.
Is my audio low?
I didn't want to say something because I was really enjoying the dulcet tones coming in at that low volume. It's tasty.
Oh,
Didn't want to spoil the warmth.
where's my audio setting? Oh, I turned off automatically adjust mic volume, so we'll see if that works better. Does that work better? We'll see.
Didn't change it.
Oh, didn't change it. Oh, I probably have to like back out of there. How's that?
Mm.
Blah 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 words. No, I can always just turn my up. I can turn my audio up if you want.
Well, I mean, it's not phasing me at all. But
How's
if it's
that?
a problem.
Check
Sounds
mic
okay to
check.
me.
Hot on the
Sounds
mic.
good to me.
Is that better?
Sounds
We
good.
can
Okay.
try to talk softer.
No, I'm just gonna start screaming now. If I yell out the door, you guys could probably be able to hear me better. Yeah, I mean, I heard from a couple people that Joey was ranting about stuff, and the thing is that like he mentioned a lot of people there. A lot of people there I don't have any kind of relationship with whatsoever at this point. A lot of people named there I don't have contact with. I don't have anything to do with, whether it be friendship or business. I have nothing to do with them. So all of the co-op team, I have nothing to do with them whatsoever. I don't talk to them. I don't buy things from them. I don't sell things to them. I don't receive money for anything. So to be clear on that.
Who was the lass with the mohawk and stuff? Rachel someone.
The what?
The lass, the girl with the mohawk.
Oh, Rachel O'Leary?
O'Leary.
Last time I talked to her, she told me to fuck off, how I was a piece of shit. She screamed in my face. She dropped liquor on the ground. She was dirty. Just generally smelled bad. Was screaming at me and was saying that she was gonna kick my ass because I brought issue with her making money off of her daughter attempted suicide, which I think is abhorrent behavior. I think it's disgusting that you would make a fundraiser that you're taking money from and making YouTube videos about a minor having a suicidation and then telling me that her reasoning behind it is that she asked for her child's permission to publicly put that out there.
Yeah, far out.
And every single psychiatrist, doctor, any person I've ever talked to ever, there is no benefit for that child, for any child, having their suicide attempt publicly broadcast.
Yeah.
To the world, for the world to see, right?
Would Joey refer to her as Ray?
Yeah, they're friends. They're friends. So,
he made some pretty full-on claims about a girl called Ray as well, and that's the only one that I can think of. And one of the things that you said just now probably confirms that when you said dirty.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because he didn't want to go and have ice cream with her.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to go have ice cream. It's true. I don't really have very many complaints about their specific content or whatever. It's more to do with specific behaviors.
Off-screen
like that.
stuff.
Like, I honestly don't think that is a
Wow.
it's not something that you should be making money off of, period. End of story. There just isn't any other, I don't have any other take on that. You just shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, that's despicable, hateful.
Yeah. So
It's a
that was
good
what I
word
took.
for it.
That was what I took issue with. I took issue with that behavior, and I was threatened with violence. So that was the response that I received. Whether the internet thinks that that's justifiable or correct or the appropriate way to deal with your problems, that's up for the internet to decide. You can make up your own mind. Personally, I generally try to be the adult in the room because I've seen the effects of violence many, many, many times inflicted on myself and on others, and I would do pretty much everything in my power to avoid those interactions at this point in my life because I've been around it a lot, and I don't personally want to be around it ever again. So kudos to people that may have grown up in suburbia and everything's a joke to them and they can make wild threats and do all sorts of stuff. That's great. Fantastic for you. Go live your life. Just don't live it around me. I don't want to be around it. So, I mean, that's pretty much my take on that whole situation, but
It's Divine says, "Is there ever a time Joey is never drunk?" I'm sure it's like the 1950s housewife situation where they've got all the money they need. They don't need to go out and work. They've got a maid that's looking after the house. So why not have a Chardonnay at 11 a.m.?
Well, I mean, I would. There probably is times that people aren't under the influence. I mean, I know that when I used to drink, I'm coming up on 10 years sober now.
Congratulations.
Like
Happy
when I used to
birthday.
drink and shit, when I used to drink and stuff, there definitely were times during the day where I wasn't drunk, get a lot of stuff done, then it just goes off the rails over and over again. And I think, unfortunately, it's just, you're seeing that behavior,
Broadcast to everyone.
broadcast live, and it is what it is. Everybody's allowed to make their own decisions as long as you're not affecting other people's autonomy, right? So,
Yep.
I mean, he's more than welcome to kick back and party as much as he wants. That's fine by me. I'm not judging any of that stuff, but it's just, that's my opinion on what that looks like, and I can say that from personal experience from myself and others, so I don't know. Hopefully I think everyone has an opportunity for redemption in this world, and hopefully they can make positive changes in the future. That's all I could hope for, but
Agreed. Absolutely.
Mhm.
So what else has been going on, Corvey? You found your water tap.
staying busy, dude. Staying busy. Got I don't know, bunch of stuff going on. Oh yeah, the tractor vlog series is coming out. Once again,
I like it.
once again,
That's good.
once again, the internet. I like to post things on the internet, and people just go like, "What the fuck is this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it just is the thing." I filmed that thing, and I'm making it into a video, and you can watch it or not. So the tractor vlog is kind of a big deal to me. It's kind of a big deal to me because I spent years trying to find this water main on a 5-acre property that Vicky's been going to this property, since she was 1 year old or whatever. And at some point in time, back in like 1985, they put in the water from the well. So there's a well that serves 4 properties, correct? And 3 of the properties, they all have their water. It's hooked up from underneath the building, and it comes out of taps, regular water. Well, the one undeveloped property is the one that we camp on, and we've been working and clearing land and, building RV pads and stuff. And there is a water tap, a water main, stub out with a cover, and it was there, and they put it there in 1985. And somebody had mentioned on the and I think it might have been you, Mick. I'm not sure, but to put a stake in the ground, which they did. They put a wood stake in the ground in the Pacific Northwest. So
It's just wash it away, has it?
I will say this, that a wood stake in the ground, it'll be there for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
And then the forest
Not
eats it.
25 years.
The forest fucking eats it. It takes a lot less than 25 years, because I know Vicky's father put he said he put a new stake. He said he put a new stake out there somewhere around 2005. And I was like, "Where do you remember exactly where you put the stake?" And he was like, "Yeah, I put it over here in the middle. In the middle over here. That's where I put it." And I'm like, "No. Exactly where you put the stake. Yeah, over here somewhere, maybe in the middle." You know, and every time I talked to him, it would always change. And so over the years, like every year, we would sort of dedicate like a day in spring and then like a day in the fall to try and locate the lines that are there
with a stick.
And I tell you, I've dug up the there's a line there for the septic to go to the drain field. I've dug that thing up, I don't know, 50 times. Well, this last year, they left the tractor down on the property. So, because we were like, look, we're going to do these RV pads. We're going to do all this stuff. We need the tractor there. And we have to clear because we didn't clear the year before. So we spent pretty much this whole last summer going down there every weekend and clearing things and moving rocks and digging up dirt and doing all sorts of stuff. And we got the RV pads put in, and then we would clear again, and we were looking around for stuff. And then the whole extended family came one day, and they helped us bushwhack a whole bunch of stuff, dig a bunch of holes. We had dogs running around, a bunch of shit. I broke the tractor on that day, which I have a video I'm editing about the broken tractor and how we fixed it. We broke the tractor, but needless to say, we still didn't find it that day. We found the sewer line. Vicky's cousin dug up and found the sewer line again, and then found this line and found that. Didn't find it. The next day, Vicky, on that Sunday, she had some appointments to go to, like a massage and a chiropractor and a meditation thing to go to, and she took Olivia with her. So it was just me and the dogs and the tractor there. So Vicky was like, yeah, don't worry about that. Just go do some other stuff. Don't worry about the water line. We'll try it again next year. And I was like, fuck that. I'm just going to sit here and drag. I'm going to drag the whole property. I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to back drag the property until I fucking dig up the whole property until I find this fucking thing. And so I was out there, and I didn't even notice that I had dug up the actual cap for the main. And so it actually dug up the cap and had put it in a pile. And somebody called me. I got a phone call, and I was like talking on the phone. And so I got off the tractor, was walking around, and I just found that green lid. And I was like, holy shit, I found the lid, which was crazy because I was there all by myself. So I was out there like yelling and screaming and jumping up and down and throwing the lid around like a Frisbee, all excited. And no one was there. No one could rejoice with me at all about having found it. So yeah, I don't know. It was a moment. And so I've been editing up those videos and putting them out to crickets chirping on YouTube. But
I've seen them.
It's fun. It's fun when I get to share it with a couple people. It feels good. So I don't know. Somebody maybe is reveling in it.
And you get to ride around on a tractor as well. That's the extra bonus.
I do love tractoring. It's kind of my favorite
Me
thing.
too. I'm a big fan.
Today's kind of a weird day for me. I'm kind of emotional today. it's my dad's birthday. My dad is 76.
Happy birthday.
76 years young. And in my father's old age, he is tempered. He has tempered himself into deciding to be more open than he has ever been in my entire life.
All right. Yeah.
Very interesting to get information from my pops.
You're getting a few intimate conversations that you're not quite ready for.
Well, I mean, if you wanted an image of stoicism in 2024, you just put a picture of my dad in there, you know. But we were talking about the war because I've been asking I needed some information about my grandpa, who's been dead, he was a captain in World War II. And I needed some information on that. And so we were talking about it. And then he started talking about his service a little bit. And so, you know, I tend to not pry and ask too much because he doesn't really want to talk about it. But I'm hopefully I'm going to interview him. I'm hopefully going to sit him down and interview him about just so I can have a thing to remember my dad when he dies, because he'll die at some point, and it would be cool to have that. But what I didn't realize is that all of you Vietnam War buffs that are out there, my father was on the USS Enterprise when it exploded.
Oh,
wow.
I don't know if Punchy.
Wow.
I don't know if Punchy's old enough to remember the USS.
I do remember. I don't remember the exact details of it anymore, but yeah. I do know that.
The USS Enterprise had stopped in Hawaii to
Yeah.
get a bunch of stuff.
I think isn't that the most famous one of the ships that sank?
It didn't sink. It did not sink. An ordnance, a bomb, fell off of a plane on the flight deck that my dad was on, and it exploded, and it blew a hole, as my dad said. He said it blew a hole the size into the flight deck, big enough to drop a panel truck into. That was, he said,
wow.
It's a 3-inch steel plate, and it just evaporated the plate. And he said you could drop an airplane. He said you could drop one of the planes just right in the hole. But he was using panel truck technology, terminology. And I was like, well, how big of a panel truck are we talking? And he was like, you could have just pushed a plane right in that hole. So that was the first explosion. Then a bunch of the fuel tanks that were on top of, they used to store fuel tanks on top of the flight deck. Those exploded. A bunch of other stuff exploded on the ship. 28 men died. 180 men were critically injured. And my dad was on the flight deck when that all went down. And I had
too tough.
I had never recognized that was the thing. And so I went and watched some of the Discovery Channel videos on that explosion and aftermath and everything. And I realized, my dad's one of those little guys running around while the shit's just fucking exploding, and they're like, "We got a hose, fucking put it out," And
he's just
and
there,
I
mate.
had to realize that that was one of those little guys. That's my dad, running around out there. And he was talking about some other stuff because he went on a lot of missions. He was out in in the Navy, but he was also a flight mechanic. And he worked on the flight deck. He went to Vietnam. He did multiple tours there. And one of the things back then was if you were a mechanic, you could go on the flying missions, and you'd sit in a little jump seat in the back. And if the plane got hit, then the mechanic could just fix the plane while it was flying around. I guess. I don't know. I just thought that was a fucking good idea.
Isn't that where the term "on the fly" comes from?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe.
I think it is.
Know. Is that where it's from?
I believe so.
Oh, you fuck. Bad idea. So. Not a great idea, I tell you, but I don't know. He went on a bunch of those and did a bunch of that stuff. And it was weird because, you know, I was talking to him, and he was like, well, when I got back, one of the things that really, he was saying that he would send planes out all day long. They would load them up. They would work on the planes. They would fix stuff. They would, you know, fuel them up, get them ready, do all the safety checks, blah, 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 load them up with bombs, plane. And they would do that for 12-hour shifts. And then you would go below deck and you would work for 4 hours, and then you would rack, and then you'd go back up to the flight deck. And he was saying that, like, you know, the whole time that you were on the flight deck, you were filling up planes with ordnance, bombs and shit, and they would come back empty. They would just always come back empty. They would never come back with anything. Everything would be fired out there, you know, and then they would come back empty. And he heard, I don't know how much it was, but he had heard a recount of how much munitions in whatever millions of tons or whatever the hell the number was had been dropped just on Vietnam. And it really, he said that was what really had affected him a lot. And the other thing was, which I don't know, he had never told me about this before, but, you know, the old technology on those flight decks, the plane, if you've ever seen Top Gun or whatever, the plane comes up and they hook up a thing to the front landing gear. Inside there's a wire spool that goes down. It winds up and it yanks the plane so that the plane has this assisted speed to take off. And of course the pilot's supposed to have the motor revved up and ready to go, and then they fly away. But that slingshot thing basically throws the plane out there, and then the plane's supposed to fly under its own volition. And apparently on 2 separate occasions, you know, they got the flight crew, they got the crew ready, they got the plane ready, they went through the safety checks, they put everything on it, they put it on, blah, 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 go through the whole sequence, throw the plane out there, and it just went down.
Plonks into the ocean.
And the thing about that was I was like, oh man, you guys had to do a crazy rescue mission or whatever. And he was like, there was no rescue mission. They're just gone when that happens.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And he was talking about that a bit today, and I don't know. It really affected me because I've seen all of the he has a lot of black and white pictures from that he took when he was in the service. And at one point in time, he many years ago, I think my dad was a little in the bottle one night, and he had pointed to all of the guys. You know, he's like, this guy didn't make it, that guy didn't make it. I still know this guy. All these guys, none of them made it. And I never thought when I was younger that it would have been such like a personal experience of, like, you know, if Mick was the pilot and I was my dad, it would have been like, okay, you're ready. We checked the plane. Okay, get in. You know, all right, see you when you get back. And then it's just fucking dead. Oh,
Never seen again.
Okay, well, those planes don't float, apparently. They just sink, and they're just gone, and there just is no... Back then, I mean, I don't know about now. There's probably better technology now, but back then, it's just gone. That plane doesn't exist anymore. Those guys are down there.
All the planes probably are equipped with one of those, you know, those magical hammers that you can smash your car windows in the case of going underwater.
I think the cabs are. I think the cab, the cockpit, and everything. I think the body of the plane now is pressurized. So I think if the plane goes out, they can drop all the ordnance to lose weight, and then I think they drop the fuel, and there probably is some kind of flotation thing that pops out or whatever that tries to keep the plane from going straight down to the bottom of the ocean. But apparently back then that was, you know, my dad was saying they just went off to the blue. I don't know. He seemed a little into saying they went off into the blue. And
I guess we probably have to wait for the interview series to hear his description of what Off Into the Blue is.
It's kind of weird. That's one of the few times my dad gets the far off stare. He just talks about the being out in the middle of the ocean, because they, there was a lot that they would throw off the ships back then. They do it now, but back then apparently, any plane that was fucked up, they would just push it off. They would just throw it off the boat. They're like, we can't fix it. Get it out of here. But yeah, he kind of has that a little bit of shell shock. And the weird thing is like when I was a kid, I always thought my dad was deaf because he can't hear the high register. Anything that's like psst, anything that's ringing or high ringing, he can't hear that shit. And I was like, I always just thought, because he said back then the bunks were right under the flight deck. So where they bunked, he was like, yeah, I slept under the flight deck, and he was like, that's what did it. But I think it was probably the explosion. I think it was probably the explosion that did it.
Potentially.
And
a little bit of column A and column B.
The weird thing is that, so my dad has a bunch of fake teeth right here down at the bottom. And that's what happened to him on the day that the ship blew up. Shrapnel hit him, and it knocked all these teeth out, and his lips, it's fun. It just looks like an old man lip now, but he always had a beard. He had a beard forever to cover it up.
Cover his scarage.
Yeah. And when I was a kid growing up, I don't know. I never had like an active recognition of that. And then I was talking with him a little bit more about it. I didn't want him to like get too sad on his birthday, but it was weird. I was kind of just letting him. I wanted to hear about it. Hold on a second.
So is that a project that you will commit to? Is doing war interviews of him?
Yeah, I'm trying to interview my grandma because she's 96. She lived through she was born in the Great Depression and lived through World War II. She lived through the Depression. She lived through all that stuff. And, she lived through civil rights. She lived through quite a bit, and she remembers a lot of it. She's really sharp. And so I've been interviewing her a little bit. And I want to do some real sit-down interviews with. That's part of why I'm kind of trying to get more history about Grandpa so that I can ask her about
solid questions.
Oh, hey, when Grandpa got out of the service, he went back to college. I'm trying to be able to relate to certain eras so that, because if you can relate an era to her, like it brings her back. She can go back to the 50s and remember, this, and then we moved there, and she's really sharp, but she's also really old, so she has a lot of memories. So if you just let her ramble, she's a lot like me. I take after her.
Eventually.
She'll just be rambling on for hours and hours. So that's kind of why I'm trying to work out the history that actually is correct as to what my grandfather had done. But one thing that really kind of struck me today talking with my dad was he was talking about like the worst part of the war wasn't all the dead people and stuff. It's when they came back. And I didn't realize that my dad had that sort of Forrest Gump thing, when they came back from Vietnam. My dad actually had the Forrest Gump thing, like people threw trash on him and shit.
Oh man!
And he was talking about one of the times that stood out to him was, so in the past, when the aircraft carriers would come back to the States, they came into San Francisco. When they would come into the mainland, and I think they sort of do this sometimes now, but not so much anymore. All of the crew would go stand up at attention on the deck as they came in to port, sort of under the expectation that like people would be
back to a hero's welcome.
And my dad was talking about how people pushed dumpsters out onto the Golden Gate Bridge and threw trash on them as the ship went under the Golden Gate Bridge. They just people were just throwing trash on the boat, and I don't know how like just an average guy was realistically like supposed to deal with that kind of stuff. And
how do you process all that?
I don't necessarily give my dad like a free pass or anything for all the weird nonsense throughout my life, but I don't know. I try to look at it with a little bit of a little bigger grain of salt these days than I used to.
Yeah, I call it a bag of salt.
Yeah. And I was talking with him today because my grandfather was a bombardier pilot. He was a pilot in the Air Force, Army Air Force before they were really Air Force. Because I was trying to get an interpretation of like how because my dad was like, yeah, Grandpa didn't ever really want to talk about the war. Because we're trying to get his full service history right now, because the current service history is not correct. So we're trying to get them to pull the actual paper records of which sorties and stuff that he flew in, because it's apparently sort of mysterious. I don't know why. They claim that there was a big fire, and so that was the problem. But either way, you have to put in a request to get them to actually go pull the physical documents out of a folder wherever and get it, because they said that his area of operations was only the South Pacific, but there are multiple missions that he's attributed to having been in over Germany, and it's like those aren't exactly in the same spot. If you're like, I'm over Japan or Germany, I don't know. You would be a little out of sorts if you were that far off on your navigation, right? But the thing that my dad was talking about today about my grandpa, that we were talking about was like, you could be a rifleman in the Army, and once you get out, if you had been at war or whatever, you could probably rationalize a little bit to yourself that like, well, I was shooting over there, but we were all shooting over there. So, maybe, probably wasn't me. I'm not a good shot. I was a little crooked, whatever. The amount of, I guess, negativity that you'd be carrying, you could probably defer some of that to like, well, maybe it wasn't as bad, but when you unload the payload out of a B-52, it goes down there and everything that had any kind of vertical aspect to it now only has flatness. So I think it weighed pretty heavy on my grandfather that he knew for sure he was responsible in some way. I think in his mind, he was a pretty religious guy, and I think that's why he laid on that pretty hard in the hopes that whatever salvation would come or not. I don't know. But yeah, it's kind of weird to talk to my dad about with that stuff today. And like I said, it's weird for him to be that open. So I don't know. I've just been thinking about that a lot.
Yeah, I always enjoy, well, not necessarily enjoy, but lap up interviews with people who have been through that kind of experience. So yeah, I highly recommend that you go through with that and make some videos out of it.
Yeah, well, I definitely want to have more documentation of the old people that didn't have 4K video up until recently.
Absolutely.
That's because I've been documenting as much as I can with Olivia, and I don't know. I'm just emotional today. So if I start crying, it's just because I'm emotional today. But I was cataloging some videos of Olivia's that I had, and it's just crazy to be able to go like, there's Olivia when she's 2, right? Mm-hmm. It's not grainy, it's not weird. Like the audio's good, the video is good. Like that's Olivia when she was 2, and she's like, oh, look at this giraffe. She's doing whatever she's doing. And I know that doesn't really, that doesn't really exist necessarily, for like my grandma. She has grainy black and white
picture of her.
Yeah, she has grainy black and white pictures and stuff. And the weird thing is that I look a lot like my grandpa. My dad is like a blonde-haired, blue-eyed, 6'3", looks like he came out of Norway or some shit. And I look just like my grandpa, so you know, I know how he looked when he was 82 when he passed away. So if that's the case, I'll be fine. I'll be fine up until then, at least. But yeah, you know, I don't know what I was talking about now. I'm trailing off.
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, what's new with you guys?
I can't get out my door.
Is it? Are you fucking snowed in?
Yes.
The goddamn snow. The white devil.
Actually, what happened was there was a snowbank.
It's the real white devil.
Yeah. What happened was there was a snowbank, but then it like one day it got up to 40, so it kind of like turned to a block of ice.
Ah, damn it.
So I can only open my door like a foot, and I hit that block of ice.
Fuck.
And the foot is not wide enough to get my fat ass out.
You need a block of salt. Just set it on there.
I know, but I don't have any.
Get somebody to get a deer lick and bring it by and throw it on the front porch.
I don't know, but it's one of those things where I don't really have to go anywhere, but just the fact that I can't drives me nuts.
Well, yeah, once you remove the ability to leave, right? It's like prison wouldn't be all that bad, except for they make you stay all the time.
Yeah,
You know?
that's like where I'm at is I can't get out my door.
You get 3 meals, you get a free bed, all the sex you want whenever you want it. Oh wait, what?
I think don't like 50% of prisoners say it was the best time of their life.
Well, I think that's more of a determination of like their life might not have been that great leading up to the prison situation. But yeah, I think that's what struck a chord with my dad today, into the whole conversation, was because I was like, wait a minute, you were in high school when civil rights went through, weren't you? And he was like, you know, I gotta level with you that was happening, and he was like, I really wasn't paying attention to it at all, and I should have. And he's like, I should have paid attention to it. And what's weird is that when my dad, got, so back then they were getting drafted for the war. And what would happen is that you would get you'd get a secret code, like from the Cracker Jack box, that would say where you're at in the potential to be getting drafted, right? So if you had like 20D, you're way far away. If you had 1A, they're going to be calling your name pretty soon. So my dad got a 1A in the mail. And he said, well, fuck these clowns. They can't draft me. I'm going. So he went. Because he was like, I might as well get it over with now. And so he went.
Sign up of his own volition instead of being told what to do.
Yeah, he went in, and so the first boot camp he was in was in Chicago, and so he went through boot camp, and then he went through additional training, and then when he became a flight mechanic, the flight mechanic school was in Memphis. The flight mechanic school was in Memphis, and when my father was in Memphis getting trained is when Martin Luther King was shot. And I was like, you were in fucking Memphis when Martin Luther King got shot? And he was like, well, I wasn't in Memphis. I was in the barracks. I'm like, well, yeah, but what the fuck, man? And it was weird because I never really thought about it this much, but my dad was talking about like the barracks and boot camp and everything. And he was more interested in the fact that like, yeah, well, you know, we went to this concrete building, which was really cool. At the time, because I was from the country and I'd never seen a concrete building before, and I didn't realize like how country and fucking hayseed my dad was when he was a kid, you know. And he was like, and then we went from that concrete building, then we went to these wood buildings, and that was pretty normal, you know. So I was kind of used to the wood buildings and stuff, and I'm like, what the fuck? How is this something that you remember? And he was like, yeah, so we were in Memphis, and that's when Martin Luther King got shot. And he was like, that's when MLK got shot, and there was a lot of rioting and stuff while we were trying to do the school, and you know, he's like, anytime we went into town, he was like, it was pretty chaotic because there was just like people were rioting and there was all sorts of stuff going on. And I was like, that's your takeaway? Like your takeaway was, it was kind of crazy and there was a lot of people rioting and stuff. I'm like, okay, yeah, well, but he had mentioned that like, yeah, the civil rights stuff happened. And he's like, and he goes, I wish they would have just kept up with it. And I was like, what? He's like, I wish they would have kept it going, kept the momentum going, and just kept up with it. And I was like, Nixon put them all in prison, bro. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And he was like, well, yeah, they did that. And I was like, well, yeah, you know, once you put the organizers in prison, like, there's no one around to organize anymore, right? Then now it's disorganized, you know. As I was trying to tell him, like, it's like having the army but no staff sergeant or drill sergeant, or you know, it's like having a boot camp with no drill sergeant or staff sergeant there. And he's like, oh yeah, that would be pretty chaotic. They probably wouldn't get anything done. And I'm like, Dad, there you go. And he was like, man, that's fucked up. And I'm like, yeah, well, you lived through it, so where are you at, bro? Yeah. I think my dad was too busy having panic attacks from him having been in the war or whatever. So,
well, I can't wait to see them. If you get some interviews arranged, I'll definitely watch.
That would be pretty awesome to watch.
Oh, well, I'm trying to get better at my 3-cam shot. I actually have a studio now, as you guys can see from the last time we talked.
I just thought you were in a video game arcade.
I'm in a video game arcade, legit.
Playing some Pac-Man and some Gallagher. A little bit of Scramble.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's I can literally nowadays, I can like literally just change the lights whenever I want to whatever color I want. So
techno.
It's very techno. It's very, very techno. But the good thing about it is that I actually have space now to film interviews with people that in like a really comfortable setting where I can already have lights and cameras and everything set up.
Nice.
Which the hard part has always been like going to people's houses and then being like,
yeah, how do I rig
you
it?
got fucking light coming in everywhere. This is all crazy. You got white walls. What the fuck? You know, like trying to figure out how to film stuff on the fly is less than I don't know, good. It's less than good. Yeah.
Acceptable.
So you mentioned to me that there's more Star Wars lore I'm missing out on because I not been keeping up.
Yes,
I haven't been doing the Blacky show to keep me on my toes, appraised as to what's coming out. I've been freaking out about Dune 2. I'm excited that as an adult with a child, I have tickets, I have a babysitter, we're all lined up. I got fucking fuel in my truck. I'm ready to drive over to see Dune 2. No one's gonna distract me. I'm gonna break my phone in half with a fucking axe or something. So.
Just leave it.
There can't even be an emergency. I'm going to watch Dune 2 with both of my eyeballs open. Colostomy bag if needed. I'm excited.
The Bad Batch has started its latest season on Disney last night. And if you haven't seen, have you seen the first 2 seasons of the Bad Batch?
It'll send me a reminder. Disney Plus will email me, I'm sure, and be like, fucking Bad Batch, go watch it right now. And I'm like, I'm subscribing. Fuck, okay. Don't
Did you
kill
watch
me.
the first 2 seasons?
I believe so.
Awesome storytelling.
Don't hold my recounting of season 1 and 2. I know for a fact I've watched season 1, and I know with 99% assurance that I've watched season 2.
Yeah.
A slight 1% chance that I may have fallen asleep during some of the episodes, because that does happen. I'm becoming an old man.
They released the first 3 episodes last night, Australia time.
I like it when they do at least a couple episodes.
G'day, Vigilant. How you doing? Yeah, it was very good, very good. I loved it, and it's very like Bad Batch is one of those cartoons that I've cried many times to, and I get very emotionally involved in. And the new season has started, and it is so far so good.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's good.
And then we've got The Acolyte coming out soon, which is
Right.
another Star Wars show that's set a long time ago.
Right. That's like origin story. It's like Star Wars Origins.
Kind of ish, I guess, but not necessarily.
Kind of ish, I guess, but not necessarily. Well, that's not.
Yeah, it's a storyline. As far as I'm,
the discovery of the Force, right? Am I wrong?
I don't know. I think it's after the Force has been around. I think it's more like a noir-y kind of detective kind of thing.
Oh.
And then we've also got Skeleton Crew coming out soon with Jude Law in it. Very, very, very sexy human man.
Yeah, Jude Law's in it. Who else is in it?
A bunch of kids, because the Skeleton Crew is a bunch of kids.
Interesting.
But yeah, there's lots of
I'm
good
gonna look
Star
up
Wars.
I'm gonna look up the synopsis because we can't trust your ramblings, my friend.
Yeah, not after this many turkey sodas. My ramblings are becoming more and more incoherent as this podcast goes on.
It's generally like I'm used to it, you know. Okay,
You
the
should be.
Acolyte is set at the end of the High Republic era in a world of shadowy secrets and emerging dark side powers.
Noir.
Approximately 100 years before Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. So what you're saying is there's no Natalie Portman, is what you're saying.
Yeah, she's not even a twinkle in her father's eye yet.
Oh, here's one of the great things about being in the studio now. Fuck! See, I can do that whenever I want.
Olivia
I can do that
doesn't
whenever I
hear.
want. Whenever I want. I can be out here listening to rock music at whatever decibels I feel. 120, you got it.
You could also potentially be murdered by an axe murderer and your screams not be heard. As long as the axe murderer remembered to shut the two doors.
There's multiple
If there's-
doors. I have so many escape routes, it's not even funny. I do have a button. I have a button in case of attack. So
It'd drop you into an escape pod.
Yeah. We don't need to talk too much about the button, as it were, you know. It's like the man in the boat. We don't need to talk about the man in the boat. You know what I mean? Oh my God, Witchy Cat's here and she's joined. Channel member. Channel membership engage.
Which cat? Hello.
There'll be I have some videos about Witchy Cat's place coming out at some point. There's a lot of editing going into that, and it's a monumental task, I got to admit. I filmed a whole bunch of shit up on the mountain up at her place. And, yeah. So, all right. The Acolyte is 100 years before Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. A former Padawan reunites with her Jedi Master to investigate a series of crimes. But the forces they confront are more sinister than they anticipated. Oh, right. Isn't that the... it's not like the origin of the Sith. It's like them discovering that the Sith exist. Is it sort of like that?
I believe it's them discovering, because the Sith was supposedly destroyed 1,000 or 2,000 years before Episode 4 or Episode 1 even. And I think it's more about that the Sith are returning, and potentially after Darth Bane introduces his law of two, where there can only be two Sith.
Right.
I think that's the start of that bizzo.
Two Sith is so hot right now, you know. It's the new thing. It's the newness.
It seems so unmanageable though. Like, what do you do when one of you gets fucked up? You've got to go and start all over again.
Well, you just go get another one.
You need a school or an academy or something.
Nah. Nah, you just go get another one. Actually, I don't.
Yeah.
Don't the Sith normally have like a third? They have like a third wheel kind of guy hanging around.
Not officially, but
Right.
some of them do, because if they had a third officially, then they'd be going against their creed, I guess.
Right, but they got some lackeys. They got some lackeys with potential, right? You know, it's like, hey, who's this Anakin guy? And you're like, well, hey, don't you have Darth Maul? Don't you got Darth Maul situation? You're like, yeah, I got Darth Maul situation, but I need a little side chick over here, just in case. Just in case Darth Maul dries up. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Gets a little dry. We need a side chick over here.
The Sith were known to be consummate planners.
Right. Schemers.
Planning for the future. Oh, I can see into the future. I know my apprentice is going to die, so I better start grooming another apprentice for the near future.
Well, they could use that. Can't they use the vision, the future vision, better than the Jedi?
Yeah, because they're more willing to do what the
they're more
Jedi
willing
don't allow themselves to do.
Their willingness to do the dirty. They're like, yeah, we don't rules. Yeah, we don't. fuck all that. We break them.
But yeah, so much good Star Wars content coming out and currently out as well. I even went back and watched Book of Boba Fett again, and I had a brand new appreciation for it. I toileted it a little bit when it first came out, but I certainly appreciated it much more this time.
The thing is, like, I like all of The Mandalorian. I like the Book of Boba Fett. I liked all of it. I had many criticisms for continuity errors, of course. I always have those because I'm like, what the fuck, bro? You have so many people there that are probably much smarter than me. Why the fuck haven't you written this shit down? Like, good Lord. But the big criticism I had was like all these weird cheese dick shit that they would throw in that was supposed to appeal to like kids or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, stop doing that. Like, I understand you're Disney and you're like, but this for the kids, you know, you're like, that guy just got shot in the face. Like, he just got his arm lasered off. This isn't for kids. Don't include this shit for kids. And then the teenagers will just be like, I just like this.
I guess because that's the best thing for a kid to watch, getting a guy getting his arm lasered off.
It's the fucking worst. I mean, the input.
There's no blood.
The input I get from my 5-year-old is enough evidence to be like, there's a reason why you don't expose kids to like crazy, nonsensical media at a young age. You know,
you wait until they're at least 6.
I mean, just wait till their hormones start kicking in, and then it just watch whatever. It's fine. Hopefully your brain's formed enough that you'll figure it out. But you know, when I went to Disneyland, I've been to Star Wars. I've been to it. I ate at the diner.
Did they serve
like
you blue milk?
What's that?
Did they serve you blue milk?
They had blue milk. I did not order blue milk. I forget what I had to drink there. I might have already had like a water or something with me. But they had blue milk. It was on the menu, and I was like, that sounds so stupid. But they have the calorie stuff up there. And I recall the blue milk thing being like 800 calories. Go fuck yourself. Like, that's crazy. You know, it's like a milkshake or something, whatever the fuck it was. I don't know. I didn't
800 calories in a pint of blue milk.
Okay, I was about to say that for milk, that's a little crazy.
You got to
Now,
power yourself.
Was that at Disneyland or the California Adventure thing?
So Disneyland has Star Wars at it.
Okay.
I
I don't remember if it had it when I worked there or not. I don't think they did.
No, I don't think it was.
No, I think
so the Star Wars part at Disneyland, I forget which part it used to be, or it's just all new. I forget. It connects to the Louisiana Adventure Like when you go through it,
The riverboat and stuff. Yeah.
yeah, it connects to the Louisiana boardwalk or whatever that place is. But it's all new. It's all Mandalorian sort of era setup. Like the whole place is in that vein. And admittedly, it's really well done. You can't fuck with it. It's really well done. I mean, and here's the worst thing. When I talk to people about going to Disneyland, like I geeked out on the fucking plants. I'm sorry. The goddamn landscaping there is fucking mesmerizing. I wanted to drop trow and fucking hump some plants, man. It was crazy. I don't know what to tell you. It was like, what the fuck is happening?
The way that it's set up is that you're not supposed to be able to see any other land when you're in one part of it.
Yeah.
It's set up where you can't see out of that. It's like you're totally immersed in that section only.
There's a couple spots. There's definitely a couple of spots that you can see some stuff. Like we were waiting at the Haunted Mansion.
That was one of my favorites, yeah.
Which, by the way, fuck the lines. Jesus Christ, the lines there are so goddamn long. It's unbelievable. It's mind bending. Anyhow, don't worry, it'll all be in my Disneyland documentary that is a way too long video, and I don't know what the fuck it even is or means at this point. I don't know, but regardless, the lines are forever, and so we're at the waiting for the Haunted Mansion. And they were working on the steamboat. There's how many boats are there? 3? I think there's like 3 boats. One looks like a pirate ship. One looks like a steamboat, and then the other one's a paddle boat. The paddle boat is the one that they were working on. And so you could see a contractor every once in a while when they're in their high vis and their fucking helmet or in their hard hat, like fucking tootling around back there in the scaffolding, and it's like, hey man, I'm not immersed. File a complaint. I'm losing my immersion while I wait in this line for 1 hour and 45 minutes. Yeah, I've lost my immersion, guys. I'm no longer immersed. I don't know what to do now.
When I worked there, my youngest daughter was about 5, and when you work there, you can get in like so many times a year for free with so many guests, depending. And so I took her quite a bit, but she loved the haunted house, especially when they switched it over to the Nightmare Before Christmas. They changed it over right after Halloween to that. That's really cool. And she also loved the Small World. That was her favorite. So, but I don't remember. I'm pretty sure we didn't have Star Wars when I worked there. Of course, that would be about 20 years ago now when I worked there.
Yeah. It's a Small World was down when we were there.
Oh, that's too bad. Olivia would have loved that.
Yeah, I mean, probably. I don't know. She had a great time. It didn't fucking matter. She didn't know what she was missing. It didn't matter. It's a Small World was one of them I wanted to go on because I'd been there when I was a kid. We're kind of in a unique position with my mom going there because my mom started going there when it opened. And she's been going there for, it's not like she goes every year or whatever, but like when she had kids, we always went. My great-grandparents on my mom's side lived really close to Disneyland. When they built Disneyland, it was like it just happened to be close to my great-grandparents' house. Right? Like my great-grandparents' house just happened to be close. That area of California was a shit show when my great-grandparents bought that house and never moved. They lived there their whole fucking lives. They were not affluent people, but it definitely helped them in their later years with the property valuation and the fact that Disneyland.
Oh yeah, all the property there is outrageous. Yeah. I knew.
Well, that was the funny thing because when so talking with my mom and like my grandma when she was alive. So when they would go visit my great-grandparents when they were kids, it was a fucking dirt road. They lived on a dirt road. There wasn't sidewalk or anything. They lived on a dirt road. They had a patch. So they had this small house. They had they had what was called a card house, in the back, which used to be quarters for servants, if you will. That was just like a screened building. It just had screens on the walls instead of walls. Does that make sense? And that used to be servants' quarters, which AKA like farm help, because they still retained like 16 trees of what was avocados and whatever the hell had been being grown back there. But they didn't own anything behind there. They just owned that little strip behind their property that just had these avocado trees back there. And so they just lived there because it was like a place that they could afford. They were just poor people that bought a small house and worked with their hands their whole lives. But when I was a kid, because, fast forward like 50 years, when I was a kid and we went in the early 80s to go down to my great-grandparents' house in California, we'd drive our asses all the way down there, which, by the way, was fucking
I
nice.
made trips like that when I was a kid, too, because I had relatives in L.A., and I grew up in Scappoose, which is west of Portland, and we would drive down to L.A. to see my relatives.
Oh, my God. When
That's a drive.
I live in
That
I
is
live
a
in
drive.
I live in northwestern Washington now. This is where the starting point was when I was a kid, and that drive, my God, when I was a kid, man, the kids, kids these days, my daughter's got a tablet, she's got writing things, she's got all sorts of stuff. She's back there watching movies. She's, doing whatever when we go on road trips. When I was a kid, I just stare out the damn window, man.
Yep, that's it. And my mom and dad would stop for coffee, but us kids would have to sit and wait in the car.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. And
Yeah.
my dad was a road warrior, man. He would be like, we're not stopping.
Yeah,
it's
that's
like,
why my dad was a truck driver, and he wasn't going to
Yeah.
stop for nothing either.
Oh,
We
dude.
drove straight through.
Yeah. It's like, I got to pee. I'm going to pee my pants. Like, here's a bottle. Like, what do you mean? Go and pee in the bottle and then put the top back on it. Like, okay,
Yep.
Yeah,
we had some friends when I was a kid. We had some friends in that, believe it or not, they bought a little house on the beach before the town was developed, and it was in Carmel. If you can imagine how much that thing ended up being worth.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. So when I was a kid, we would go down and we would go to my great grandparents' house, and of course, like, beautiful paved street, beautiful sidewalks with palm trees in the middle, and the really snazzy looking Southern California, road. And that's where they lived. So I just always thought my great grandparents were like, oh wow, they must be pretty successful. And it's like, turns out like, no, we just live here. We paid for this place. It's fucking, we own it. Like, what?
Yep, that's it.
Where would we go? There's nowhere else to go. We can't afford to go anywhere. We just stay here. And plus, I thought my great grandpa was some kind of wizard when I was a kid, because he had like 5 million hummingbirds in his backyard. It was wild. He had this big umbrella tree. I don't know if you've ever seen those before. I think they're from Australia, so Mick
Sure
will probably
are.
know what they look like. What's that?
They sure are.
Yeah. He had this big umbrella tree in his backyard that like went, and it really covered the area. And the hummingbirds, he had so many hummingbird feeders out that there was just a flock of them back there all the time. So I always just thought that, like, oh, my great grandpa, he's got a touch with the birds, he summoned the hummingbirds, or what. I don't know what I was thinking. I was like 5, but it turns out they just like sugar, and if you give them sugar, they come back, so. But we would go down there, and one of the things I really remember was my grandpa's front lawn. And I still, to this day, have deep envy of my grandpa's front lawn. It was tightly manicured clovers.
Oh, wow.
And it was fucking epic. It was so cool. And I've sourced seed to buy the clovers and do it at my own house, and unfortunately, I do not live in the right zone for those clovers
Yeah.
to last.
I was gonna say that's one of the things that I loved about living in California is the plants that I've grown my whole life as house plants are just out in people's yards, and like huge, and they're just growing them out in their front yard.
Right. Everything's growing. The other day I accidentally came across a TikTok or a YouTube short or whatever the hell it was that some guy was talking about how you cut the tops off of pineapples and you can grow pineapples with the top.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, that's right. You can do that. I totally forgotten about that. And I was like, word, maybe I'll try that out and blah, blah, blah. And then the guy starts talking about, look at all my pineapple plants. I got a whole bunch of them growing around here. And then it's like, wait a minute, where is this guy? And it's like,
Yeah.
he's in California. Like, okay,
Yep,
well, fuck
yep.
me. I can't do that. Never mind. Fucking pineapple would die the moment.
And you got to wait like 3 or 4 years before you get a pineapple from a pineapple top.
Takes a long time.
Yeah,
Yep.
and it might only be, this big.
Right.
And one of my favorite house plants I've ever had was a hibiscus. I love those the flowers on them and stuff. They fucking grow them as hedges there in California. They're hedges.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But
So-
Very edible flower too.
Back to the most important part of Disneyland, okay?
Mm.
The goddamn landscaping there is to die for. I posted a picture on my Instagram about the Minecraft trees. They have these trees. They're growing up, and then they're cut into perfect cubes up at the top. And they look dope, and they're perfect. And if you get really, really close, you can see why they're absolutely perfect, because they're close to perfect. But if there ever is an open spot, some Mexican goes up on a ladder and weaves in some extra leaves to fill in any, insufficiencies from the, empty spots in any kind of tree anywhere. If you get really close, they have little replicas, like plastic replicas of whatever leaf it is, and then they like wire some extra ones in there
Oh,
just to
wow.
make sure like it'll fill in on its own. But people are going to be looking at this, and we don't want them judging.
Yeah, everything has to be perfect in Disneyland.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I would imagine.
But I would say the workers were awesome. The all of the rides were awesome. Like It's a Small World was down because some guy had some kind of wild episode like a week before we were there, where he stripped down naked on It's a Small World and then jumped off the ride and was up there like humping the.
Oh my god!
He was like humping the things and he was rabble rousing whilst nude.
Oh my
He was
god!
clearly having either a drug induced episode or a mental episode. And
who let
so
Florida
they had
man
to
in?
close I think they had to close the ride to sanitize and fix whatever.
Wouldn't that give him a bit of a complex though, for all the dolls to be singing "It's a Small World" while he's naked running
I
around?
don't know, man. It's hard to explain. I didn't know about it until on the way home. We were like, It's a Small World was closed. What the fuck was that all about? And somebody that sent me, somebody forwarded it to me, the news story that was like, oh, this happened right before you guys were there. It was like, oh, I guess that's why that ride was closed. Did
you get a chance to see the fireworks?
You know what? We didn't stay for the fireworks.
Oh, that's too bad, because they have fireworks that I've never seen anything like that before. It's like I used to always time my break so I could go sit outside and smoke a cigarette and watch the fireworks over the castle.
Okay, you forget where I live. I am surrounded by native reservations. Okay.
Yeah, but the Disneyland fireworks, I mean, all the fireworks that I've watched before, it's the only time that I've ever seen fireworks in the shape of hearts.
Oh yeah, I've seen it.
Stuff like that. I mean, they have like specialty people doing their fireworks.
Oh yeah, I've seen that stuff. I've seen it. Like there's literally this is just an example. There's a local Indian reservation not very far from where I live. They put on a Christmas light show that put Disneyland to shame. They put every giant zoo Christmas light thing to shame. Anything I've ever seen before, they put it all to shame. And it was fucking free. And you just go there and go like, we're in Christmas La La Land. Like, I'm telling you, millions and millions and millions and millions of lights is absurd. Like, you can fucking see this shit from space. And it's just free native thing. And all fireworks are essentially like legal on the reservation. Oh, Jesus. The cold's hanging on. And they do giant fireworks displays like 5 times a year. It's crazy. But yeah, they even had a firework that was shaped when it went up. It looked like Pikachu. I was like, I don't know how the fuck they did that, but they did.
Nice.
Yeah. And this last year they had drones that had fireworks on them. It's absurd, you know. So we weren't super worried about the display, although you could see it from our hotel. We actually ended up staying really close to Disneyland because our other hotel canceled our reservation as we were getting on the airplane. They were like, yeah, sorry, we just don't have your reservation now. So we had to go with a different hotel, but you could see it from there. The fireworks I'm not super excited about, but yeah, everything at Disneyland was great. It was great except for the lines. Like the biggest problem is the lines. They just let too many people in. It's basically what it is. And I have a bunch of video of this phenomenon that you'll be standing in a line that they're like 90 minutes. It's 90 minutes to get up there, which means there's 90 minutes of people in this line. Plus there's however many people behind. And then you'll look out to where the people are walking, and it's a sea of people bumping into each other. That's how tightly packed the walkway is. And this is just this one area, by the way. And then also, if you look around, I'll pan around to all the restaurants. Every restaurant table is full, you know, and every ride is an hour and a half wait, 2 hours and 10 minutes wait, you know. And the reality is like they're just letting in too many people for the park to handle.
Yeah, they do have limits, because I remember there was a couple days when I worked when they maxed out on their limits, but their limits were really high.
The limit is too high. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Is that the limit that they're setting on themselves is too high of a number. And you know, the reality is it's corporate greed, you know. I mean, if you set the number at 50,000 people, well, we could let 60,000 in, right? It's probably fine. Oh, well, maybe 75, you know, whatever the number is. They're just letting in too many people. That's the reality. Is they're like, we can push it to this capacity, and everyone's committed. That's the problem. Is that everyone that's there is tolerating the, whether I want to call it abuse or poor treatment, whatever it is, everyone is pot committed, right? You've already bought the plane tickets. You've already paid for the hotel. You've already paid for the tickets to get in to Disneyland. You've got your kids there with you. What are you going to do? Fucking leave? Like, all right, fuck this, guys. We're leaving. It's just too busy here at Disneyland. I guess we'll go wander the streets of Anaheim and see if we can't get into any fun business while we're out there for the kids, you know. That's the reality is that they've got you by the short hairs, and you're already pot committed. You can't just fucking leave. So that's why they do it. Is they're like, look, we know we already have you as a customer. You know, and your memory will fail by the next time you go back, right? You're gonna remember how much fun you had. It's just like the ex-boyfriend or girlfriend that you had 20 years ago. It's like, they were great, you know, you know, because you forget that they stole your cat and put sugar in your gas tank and did all this crazy stuff before breaking up. So Disney's kind of counting on that like you're a hostage to the fact that you already have paid so much money, right? And that they're just kind of taking advantage of that by packing extra people into the park. And the unfortunate side effect of that is that like the way that they do characters now. I don't know if you remember how they used to do characters, but the characters now are like half of the time the characters are like in a place, which is fine. And you go wait in line to go meet the character. Like, okay. And they have some characters walking around. But the way that they were presenting the characters really wasn't very friendly for the kids. And the unfortunate part of that is that there are a lot of adults at Disneyland that are essentially taking up the space that should be for kids. And one of the stories that we had while we were there is that we had to wait 45 minutes to meet Mickey Mouse, which like, okay, 45 minutes, like, all right. It's a California hot sun too, like you got to take that into account. But 45 minutes to meet Mickey Mouse, and the people that were in front of Olivia to meet Mickey Mouse had met Mickey Mouse yesterday, but they didn't get their autograph book signed by Mickey Mouse the day before. So they were waiting in line again to meet Mickey Mouse. Both of these people were in their late 30s. They had no kid with them. They were just a couple waiting to meet Mickey Mouse, a.k.a. a guy in a costume who is not the voice of Mickey Mouse. He's not the writer of Mickey Mouse. He's not
even the real Mickey Mouse, damn it.
He's a fucking guy in a suit. If you're in your late 30s, you should understand it's a guy who just works at Disneyland who is wearing the Mickey Mouse suit.
Isn't this a thing lately, the hate for like 30 plus adults being super into Disney? Isn't that a thing on the internet?
It is a thing, and people are upset about it. But here's the deal: like, I'm not upset that there are Disney adults or whatever, right? Like, that's fine. But
just don't fuck it up for my kid.
But the reality is that there are adults that are waiting and causing young children to wait longer to meet a guy in a suit who's not Mickey Mouse, but they needed to get their book signed Mickey from a guy, right?
And their Instagram post and whatnot.
I guess. I don't know. So it was one of those things that, like, I understand that there's Disney adults. Why don't you have certain evenings restrict the park to adults from like 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. or whatever, or early in the morning? Hey, we're letting people in at 11 because Disney adults need to be here 9 to 11 or whatever it is. But figure out how to schedule and do that. You're fucking Disney. You can figure it out. You've got $100 billion in the bank. Hire a guy to figure out how to organize these adults so that they're not standing in line stopping a kid from meeting a dude in a costume, right? Like,
stopping a kid from going to bed at bedtime.
Well, I mean, it's restricting the access to, like, I mean, Mick, you have kids. Punchy, you have kids. Mag, I don't know if you have kids. Do you have kids?
Nope.
No. But, like,
not going to.
kids are an expiring offer, right? Like, when they're 5, they are in a good mood until they're hungry, angry, lonely, tired. One of those things is going to fucking kick in, and it's going to be a goddamn meltdown. And then now you're at Disney with a kid who's melting down, and you just paid however many thousands of dollars to fucking go here for the kid. Like, I'm not there for me. I could give a rat's ass if they close Disney tomorrow. I would actually, to be clear, I would probably be a little bit upset. Like, shit, that sucks.
Yeah,
But
I can
then I would
understand that because
immediately-
I don't have kids, but my sister has had like 6 or 7 kids, and I've babysitted most of them.
And it's like kids are awesome until they get into meltdown. But the reality is the kids are melting down because there's adults in the way, right? It's like, it's not because, oh, there's just too many kids here. It's like there's adults wanting to get a signature from a guy in a Mickey Mouse outfit. You know,
I mean, you think they're adults and just know that it's a guy in a costume, and you think as an adult you would try to find like an autograph from the voice actor or
somebody like go to a convention, you know. Like, you know, I don't know. So it was just weird shit like that where you're like, what the fuck, man? This is crazy. Like, what are you doing? You
that
know?
was a real solid insight into adults of today, Derek. But yeah, they're not aware of whatever's going on around them. It's all about them.
Well, a lot of common sense has kind of gone out the window. I don't think people have a lot of that these days.
Well, I mean, I think admittedly, like, I think people still have a lot of common sense. I think a lot of it's just more reported than it ever was before. Like, we always knew that Florida was crazy. We always knew that Florida was a disaster, but we didn't have it in our news feed every day. But you could easily like tailor your news feed to be like, man, Florida is buck wild, man. You know, I think it's just that. My last time at Disneyland, I shelled out $80-ish to rent a scooter, and my kid sat on my lap when she was tired. Half the time, we were bumped to the front of the line, worth every penny. Actually, it's probably it's a good idea.
Yeah, pretend your
like,
kids instead.
So it was kind of interesting with my mom there, because she was talking about like one of the eras that she was going there, like when she was a kid. They did a thing that back then the kids would get a ticket book for the rides, and the adults wouldn't. Kids would get a ticket book to go on rides, and you would get A, B, C, and D, right? So each book would have like 4 A tickets, 4 B tickets, 4 C tickets, and 4 D tickets. And then each ride would have a letter that like It's a Small World would be a B, right? So when you went up, they would rip the B, one of the B's out of your book, and you could go on that ride. And then you had one less B to go on. And then throughout the day, once you ran out of the tickets ripped out, then you were done with your rides for the day. So you could just go around and choose which ones you wanted to go to. But because of the dispersion of what letter was here and what letter was there, the kids wouldn't all end up just going on the same ride. And another thing I noticed while we were down there is we went on both of the Star Wars rides. And somebody in front of us had gone on the ride 6 times that day.
Wow.
They just would go on the ride, and then they would go wait in the line, and then they would go on the ride, then they would wait in the line. And you're like, so essentially the people are just like going on the same ride over and over again. So like this line is like artificially inflated by weirdos that are like just there all day to be in the line. Part of the effect of that is that, and we found this out from a local guy that we sort of befriended, him and his family, and he's like, yeah, our pass to Disneyland is free because we live in the county. Okay. So they just get a free pass. They just get free Disney passes because they live in the county. And he's like, yeah, so we just come down here once every 2 weeks and we just go around and have dinner and hang out. And I'm like, oh, okay. So half of the park is just full of locals that just have a free pass. So I don't know. It's just, like I said, Disney has all the money. They should fucking figure it out. The Country Bear Jamboree. What was it? Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. That thing is still old school. The teacups are still old school. Dumbo.
Is that from Wind in the Willows? That's not a Disney property.
Yeah. Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. We went on it. I don't know how wild it was, but it was a ride.
I don't even know what the teacups are from.
And then, so over at California Adventureland has all of the Marvel stuff is over there. All of the Pixar stuff is over there. What else is over there?
The water rides are over there.
Yeah, the water rides are over there. The roller coaster is over there. Little Mermaid, stuff like that. Big Hero 6. The Big Hero 6 part of California Adventureland. Fuck yeah, that was rad. They had a chocolate shop there, and I was like, I'm just gonna keep going back to this Ghirardelli chocolate shop and get myself some fucking chocolate. This is awesome. And I have to admit, the beats were fresh in the Big Hero 6 area. The music they got piping in there was uplifting. I enjoyed it.
Oh, Alice in Wonderland, right?
Yeah, the teacups are from Alice in Wonderland. Yeah, the Mad Hatter, the character playing Hatter, that guy was fucking awesome. That guy was an old pro. The guy playing the Mad Hatter. That guy was awesome.
I gotta go get my old people dinner ready and stuff, so I'm gonna have to go.
Yeah, it's about time
All
we
right.
like shut it down because I've been on for 3 hours.
Oh my god.
Okay.
All right, we
yeah.
gotta get out of here.
Yeah, so thanks for coming on, guys.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Thanks for having us, or having me, I guess.
Yep. And we will see you. I'll do another stream on Sunday night.
Okay.
So, okay,
Sunday
guys.
night.
See you later. Thanks for coming in,
All right.
everybody.
See you later.
Sunday.
Bye.
Hopefully my hiccups have stopped by then.